Oh,
I heard you
Peter!
through my head.
Gary.
Yeah.
man.
Let me repeat
Clicking too many.
our fine sponsor
Yes, please.
that sponsors the crossover. It is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
How are we doing on this Monday, the middle of July? We're almost through talking season.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh,
we
we're-
got
we're smack dab in the middle of it.
Nice long week of nothing ahead of us.
Whoa. What about 4 days of
Yeah.
SEC Media Days?
So
British
100
Open.
100 days of SEC Media
Come on.
Days. Yes.
Just get through Wednesday.
this
There's
is
literally nothing going on
So
Wednesday.
Wednesday is the worst sports day of the entire calendar.
Yep.
This is probably the worst week. But
Definitely.
But that's why, if I was the commissioner, as I was telling Nick earlier, Futures game would have been last night, Home Run Derby tonight, All-Star game tomorrow, draft starts on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, baseball comes back on Friday, Hall of Fame is on Sunday.
Missed opportunity.
It
Because
really
you
is.
have no
actually.
competition.
Yeah.
There's no more Wimbledon. There's no more soccer.
The ESPYs were last week.
Yeah, I know.
They even are afraid of you.
Yeah. The ESPYs are like, I can't do
Like, we
this.
can't compete with this, even
I can't-
when there is no Major
I
League
can't
Baseball
do the
going on.
futures game. I can't.
The ESPYs are.
I got to get out of the way of this futures game.
Well, the Futures game is like interesting, but you never know when it is.
I know. When
No.
it has it
So
happened?
it was Saturday night
Oh, great. I
while
didn't even
games
know.
were going on.
Oh, wow.
But there's also whenever you have an all-star game, because remember when the softball celebrity all-star game used to be a big deal?
Yes. They
Now
used
I-
to play it after. Well, are they still playing it after the Derby? Just tape recorded?
Not sure when they play it now. Do they play it?
Well, it's played. It's been
Yeah.
played. I know that.
So they must have played it yesterday.
Well, they were playing it on Saturday evening while there was
Oh, okay.
other things going.
Okay,
on.
so after the Futures game.
yes,
um,
after the Futures game.
But whenever you see like the Major League Baseball softball all-star game or the NBA, whatever they do on that Friday night.
Yeah.
Do we need to have a discussion about how loose we use the word celebrity in our society?
Well, it's all TikTok people. It's just TikTok people.
Apparently there's a YouTuber that was playing softball.
Oh, several, right? Let me pull up the rosters. We could play a quick game of how many people have you heard of?
Of the celebrity softball one?
Okay, so
Yeah.
how Peter, you're a youngster. You're into pop culture.
You're young.
Yeah.
When you hear the word celebrity today, that means what?
Mainstream enough that if you're playing in a celebrity softball game, people that don't follow sports or have any interest in sports will know.
Do you
who
have the
are.
list?
Yes,
Okay, here we
yes,
go.
yes, I do.
Okay.
There's some good names on here. We could start with Coach Prime.
Okay.
Of course he was.
Deion Sanders was in the.
I believe he was a coach or
Okay.
something.
Okay.
Whatever. He was involved. I know he was on the microphone for a little while too, talking about whatever. Terrell Owens was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Celebrity still.
Tiffany Haddish was there.
Celebrity.
Pedro Martinez.
God, how dominant was
Terrell-
Pedro?
I love Pedro.
Terrell
man.
Owens, by the way, was at the ESPYs too.
20 years ago,
Nice.
Pedro was
Nice.
so filthy.
So no, I guess I'm good. Like at the top, and then it starts to slow down. So let's go. We got Pedro. We got Jenny Finch. We got Kane Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Des
Okay.
Bryant.
Yeah, those are all still
Yeah.
celebrities.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
now here we go.
All right.
King Bach.
Who?
I do know who that is.
Who's
Who
King
is-
Bach?
I
who's
don't
King
know. I
Bach?
don't know if I would call him
Who's King Bach?
He's comedian, according to
internet
this.
guy.
Internet guy.
Okay.
I haven't kept up with anything he's done in the last decade. I
All
think.
right.
King Bach.
King Bach. Gina Rodriguez. She's an
She's
actress.
an actress.
Actress,
I
yes.
think,
Yeah. Marcelo Hernandez, who's from Saturday Night Live. He's
Yes.
funny.
Okay.
Eladio Carrion.
Peter?
Oh, that's not ringing a
Oh.
bell.
Mike Towers. Mike spelled with a Y, by the way.
Not
Pretty
sure.
cool. West Wilson.
Nope.
Oh,
Matt
for 3.
James, who was a bachelor or was one of the bachelors.
Oh, we got bachelors in it
Now
now.
he's on Love Island. Apparently he's a
He was in the Silver Bachelor, is he?
No, younger guy, I believe.
Okay.
I
That
think
was
he
Gary.
played some college football.
Oh, you're right. That is a Gary.
Camille Kostick. I've heard that name.
No,
What's she up to?
got to be an actress.
Isn't that Gronk's girlfriend?
I think so.
All right.
When you said the last name, I think you're right on.
All right. Tyler Tony, influencer.
You know, a lot of those
You know
people
about
couldn't.
Tyler Tony?
No, I don't even know who the hell that is.
Perfect. A lot of those people what? Sorry.
No, a lot of those people that maybe would be in the celebrity softball game were also playing golf this weekend.
Oh. there was a
Oh, that
celebrity
is true.
golf.
The AAC.
in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a lot of stars.
Oh,
there.
that's why Kevin from The Office wasn't in this.
Because he would be in.
Kevin
Yep.
from The Office has never said no to a celebrity anything.
No, he's everywhere, and he should be.
He is everywhere. Here we go. Let's run through some names that you haven't heard of. Garrett Hilbert, Peo Solis, Julian Pena Jr., Foreign Tech, Nelson Vergara, podcaster, Lucas Brody, podcaster, Bobby Bones.
Yeah, a country DJ.
Yep.
I have a picture with Bobby.
Danny Austin, Nikki Cass. I've heard of Nikki Cass. He's the one who does the he like wears a fat suit and
That's his claim to fame?
and coaches baseball.
What?
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Really? Okay.
He was probably at the College World Series, if we're being honest. Kyron Pollard, Natasha Watley, and Lauren Gibson. The last two are softball stars.
Okay. The ratio of celebrities to non-celebrities.
About 50-50.
Okay. So I mean, that's where we're going.
About 50-50.
Speaking of that golf event in Lake Tahoe, so it's like it's perfect for the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
Why are we not watching Berkey?
Do we have that?
We don't
Do we have the Berkey channel?
Do we?
have
Yeah.
the
Do we?
Berkey channel.
Do we have
We-
the Berkey Network?
Is doing well against Turkey with Turkey.
We have the
The Berkey from Turkey Network.
We have the Jack McVeigh channel though. He's on FS1.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have Jack
Okay,
McVeigh.
all right. Well,
Okay.
top of the hour.
Jack McVeigh
Okay,
TV.
so I did notice this weekend the celebrity event that included Aaron Rodgers and I think Marty Fish won it.
Mhm.
Smoltz has always played it and done well. We are to the point of Travis Kelce taking pictures with people, especially females. He takes pictures now with the hover hands. So there are a couple of pictures from the
be
weekend
careful, Trav.
Yeah.
where it's like Ms. Nevada.
Yeah.
And he's got the hover hands. Like he's not touching
Yeah.
anybody.
Just because he knows better.
So
Well-
are we close now to dropping to a knee?
Probably. And also remember, Taylor Swift had an incident with a fan, so she probably has educated him on the hover hands.
Well, I think that's a
Right?
stretch. That's a jump, Gary. Are we close to dropping to a knee because he does the hover hands?
Yeah.
He's doing the hover hands because he doesn't want to get canceled. That's why he does the hover hands.
Canceled
knows if
by the Swifties?
Yeah, of course. Because if he touches another woman,
Yeah.
it's over.
It is true. You're like,
He's
how,
done.
How would your girlfriend, fiance, now wife,
Yeah.
have reacted if all of a sudden you did a lot of events, you were out in the public and you had your hands around, like the Bud Light girls?
I don't know. I think she'd
Instead
probably
of the
be
hover
fine.
instead of the hover hands.
But I'm not Travis Kelce. I'm not.
I
I'm
just
not
think he's been
Travis Kelce.
educated. I think
Absolutely.
either he has studied Taylor's story on it, or she has imparted her wisdom about hover hands.
I think it's more than wisdom. I think she is help. I think that some of her PR-ness.
Like this is the appropriate way to engage with the female persuasion when they want to take pictures with you, so you don't
Indeed.
have to
Indeed.
answer or have to
She's very, very good at this.
put yourself in the crosshairs.
he looks very
It's science.
awkward because I think he'd like to just hug him to be nice.
Yeah,
But he stands there with the hover hands
The
over
hover
their
hands.
shoulders.
where you can see like inches of space. Yeah, good
That's
on him.
important. It's important.
By
So
the way-
no, I mean, but I do think generally we are closer every day to a proposal.
Side
Those
note:
two.
Joe Pavelski is a good golfer, and I didn't know that.
Who's Joe Pavelski?
Hockey player. He's
Hockey
really good.
players are usually pretty good golfers.
Yes. The swing is relatable. You got the downward stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I've ever golfed with that have been really good that played hockey. Yeah, they're usually a single digit handicap.
I got to check the leaderboard here.
I think Pavelski.
There are a
finished
lot
third.
of baseball players that in their contract they're not allowed in season to golf.
I wouldn't, unless you're a pitcher.
But baseball players aren't bad golfers either.
So Marty Fish, yep. Joe Pavelski got second. Annika Sorenstam. Wow, where's she been? John
She used to golf.
Yeah, that makes sense why she got third. John Smoltz, Derek Lowe, Mark Mulder, Adam Thielen, Taylor Twellman.
Oh, Taylor. I can see him being a good. He looks like he would be a decent golfer.
He does.
What
are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
He does.
Just
Okay, I
take that however you want to.
Pavelski did retire. I thought maybe this was his last year, so he could just take up golfing
Mhm.
now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
easy
He
transition.
he cupped in a birdie off the fringe, like a little chip shot in, and he looked like watching a pro event.
Country music's Jake Owen.
He's also very good.
Jack Wagner. Who's Jack Wagner?
He was a daytime television
Yeah.
actor.
Okay. He got top 10. Harrison Smith, Derek Carr,
Okay.
Ray Allen, Austin Reeves, Aaron Rodgers.
Ray Allen, huh?
Ray Allen is apparently
Wow,
cold.
Ray. Oh,
Tim Brown, Joe Mauer, Matt Ryan, Kevin Millar, Del Curry. Del Curry. Was
Steph
he a
is
proxy
good.
for Steph? Nope, Steph was also in
Yep.
this. Del beat
What? Oh,
Steph.
Del beat Steph?
Del beat Steph.
Whoa, that can't go over well.
No, I don't think Steph was in it. Because
No,
Steph's
Steph was in it.
I
Steph
thought
was
he was in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. They.
Oh, is
I
this
don't
not the
think
right year?
Steph was in it. Yeah, I don't think Steph was in it because I know he and I can't remember two other players. They got away for the day.
Maybe he only played a couple rounds.
Yeah,
or one round.
you're
That might
right,
be
Gary.
this.
You're right. They're in Abu Dhabi. They golfed like for one day in Abu Dhabi.
They're playing college football 25.
People
Yeah.
just go to Abu Dhabi
Yeah.
now. It's kind of crazy.
Uh,
Kevin Millar, nice.
Kevin Millar.
So are you on
Don't let us win today.
a release
Who's got
date is a
last?
release date? Our Friday, are you getting the game?
Yeah, I'll be playing this afternoon at
Oh,
3
yeah.
o'clock.
Oh, you're
He's
the
got the
download
early
guy.
access.
You're the early access guy.
Man, Good on you.
Wait a minute. I thought we were in this together that a release date means a release date, not early access.
Who said that? Who agreed to this?
I believe we did this about a year ago. Back in the day, when kids today don't understand, when there's a release date, that's the release date. You don't go early. You go on the date. You stand in line with 100 strangers for 2 to 3 hours waiting for the game.
I love that. That's a world that has passed us by and does not exist anymore. And they have now given us the option to have the game
So,
downloaded onto our consoles 3 days early for the cheap price of $30 more. And I've taken advantage.
Yeah.
So
Hey, get a week early.
it's what? It's 3 o'clock today, right?
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
3 around here. Yeah. So
Central Time.
settle in. Everybody's
So
gonna.
did you let your wife know there's about 8 hours today that you're going to be just
I informed
busy?
her. I informed her last night that the game was coming out today, and
It's going to be a takeout night?
we'll just figure it out as we go. I do need a like. This is the difference between the last time I had the game and now. There's some responsibility. Like I have to have a house. I have to mow a lawn.
I do have to mow today, and I'm not looking forward to that.
At some point. Yeah. So like I will have to come up for a breather.
No.
I can't just grab a 12-pack of Mountain
Did
Dew.
you tell her no baby duties for 2 months, getting ready for the baby?
Whoa, that's breaking news. By the way, it is breaking news. I don't know that I've ever said that before, but that's okay.
Oh,
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. If it's on Facebook,
so
it's
you
public.
just assumed that he'd already announced that?
People around here have walked on eggshells is like,
Oh, I have. Yeah,
yeah, we all know it. And we've talked to him.
yeah.
He said
I've
it
talked
on
to you about it off the air. Never said anything on the air.
Okay,
about it
so
until
Peter,
Perfect. Secrets out.
Peter just broke.
I did not have
loose.
that on my
Goodness.
bingo card today.
Thank you, Peter. No, it needed to get out there because then people are going to be wondering, like, why is Happer not here? And it's August.
Are you taking it 12 weeks?
I'm not. Yeah,
Did you know you
they didn't
can
offer 12.
So did you know you can take 12 weeks? The rub is they won't pay you for 12 weeks.
Well,
But in the state of Nebraska, I was told that this was the great thing. I was told at my previous employer, they said, "Oh, yeah, you actually can take 12 weeks of paternity." I'm like, "Really?" Said, "We can't pay for one day of those, but you technically can, and it would not affect your employment with us."
I will be gone for a couple weeks. I'll be gone for a couple weeks
Okay.
in the month of August.
You should get the Schaefer plan.
Yeah, Schaefer is
He
like
disappeared for like 3-4 months.
well, he did, and then he like reappeared, and then he went back away.
I know. We gotta
He split up his paternity.
Yeah,
No,
I don't know.
there are companies that actually have paid paternity leave that are in the excess of 8 to 12 weeks.
We have a very nice plan here, which I'll be taking advantage of.
Some places have state laws, but Peter broke news.
Good job, Peter.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that had not
Jesus,
been said on
Peter,
the air yet.
don't
I
you
don't
feel?
know.
Don't
It's
you
on
feel?
Facebook doesn't
I-
mean it's made it to
Peter,
radio.
that's Connor's news to tell, not
That-
yours.
It is, and
No, it's
I
not.
apologize.
No, it's not. I was hoping that somebody would do it, and I was
Why?
I was actually internally taking bets in my head
Of who?
of who was going to do it first.
Who was?
and
Turns
I
out-
did not have
turns
Peter
out
on the
me.
board.
What was your
Turns
smart
out
money
it
on?
was
Was it
me.
me?
I didn't have Peter on the board. I had like I don't know, one of our guests or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, because we're all friends on Facebook or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, you were assuming like towards the end of one of the conversations, like, and by the way, congratulations. And you're like, on what? Yeah. Oh, am I not supposed to say?
This is all an excuse to make somebody feel bad about it. Unfortunately, it's Peter. I didn't
Yeah,
want
no.
to make Peter feel bad.
Peter's kind of red right now, too. He's a
Peter,
little
I'm
red.
turning off my camera. Turning off my camera for the rest of the
Very
stream.
much not a big deal at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is.
I might be red because I burned the hell out of my face this weekend.
Oh, okay. So
It's
we'll
not
never know
bad.
if you're embarrassed or if it's just your
It's
pinkish,
both,
your
but I
pinkish
did
hue.
burn my face too.
Okay.
So that's the idea. That's the plan.
Congratulations.
By the way,
Thank you.
hey, congratulations if I haven't told you.
Thank you.
now we made it public.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to play our the home run derby that we deserve
It's a good
instead of
What's that
Bobby
mean?
Witt Jr., Ozuna, Alonso?
You don't think
and-
that home run derby is a home run derby that we deserve? Because I do.
one. We go fiction here.
We're going fiction here. By the way, do you know that a Dodger has never won the home run derby?
Really?
Really?
So good luck to Hernandez tonight.
I don't think
Okay.
a Royal has.
He's
either.
got very low odds.
Yeah. Who has the longest odds?
No.
Actually, Alec Boehm does.
Did Steve Balboni ever win one?
Teoscar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, and Alec Boehm are like at the bottom.
So
I gotta
we
check
have
this out.
4. We've limited to this 4. I'm sure there could be many other fictional characters, whether it be from the Sandlot or also in Major League. Kelly Leak from Bad News Bears.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, it was a superstar.
Pedro Serrano. Remember in Home Run Derby, it's all fastballs.
Yeah.
Roy Hobbs. Crash Davis.
At their peak, by the
I
way.
only get to pick from these people. Can I
Yeah,
take
we're
one?
only limited to these 4.
Why can I take one off the board?
And add one?
Yeah.
Like you want Jack Elliott or Clue Haywood?
no, I want Hito.
Oh, but Hito could hit the floater.
I want Hito.
Oh, Hito. I'm your worst nightmare.
he was sanding the bat with his hand.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
I would be terrified. If I was sitting in the outfield at that garbage can stadium tonight and Hito stepped up and be
This
like,
one's for
"Watch out."
mommy. Mommy. Mommy.
I want Hito. Hito is my pick. Can I pick Hito?
So you're
You
right.
could pick Hito.
You're right in Hito.
Yeah.
I was convinced it was Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. Turns out it's not. Different guys look exactly and sound exactly the same.
No, I want Hito. I think that's my guy. He would be terrifying in a home run derby setting. But you're right.
Small sample size with Hito, though.
Can't quite hit the off speed.
Yeah. The floater just buckled him. I mean, he just. Well,
so
he,
it could
he
not
really got on
be-
his front side.
He
of it.
swung too hard.
Yeah, he
You know,
did.
the pitcher is one of the most important people, maybe the most important. So yeah, you'd have to a steady stream of fastballs. You couldn't
Yeah.
just be lobbing one up there. He'd be in trouble.
I think Eddie Harris, being Serrano's actual bullpen pitcher, just throwing the fastballs because remember he's just crushing them in spring training.
Yeah,
He probably would join him.
it's a good one.
Mhm.
Who else are we missing? We got to throw somebody else in there. Dangerous power.
The Jack
runners.
Elliott one was a good one from
Yeah.
Mr. Baseball. Because this was, I don't know if you said this with these guys, but Gary's condition was in their prime. So this is also Roy Hobbs before he gets shot in the abdomen.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I mean, think about that.
Oh.
All the guy did was hit home runs.
Were we to believe that Hito was on the backside of his career?
He looked it. He definitely
did.
looked it. So, I mean, Ched Stedman was probably number one on the backside of his career,
Definitely.
but Hito was up there. You know, I'm just going to put that out there.
Let's see if they have an estimated age for him.
For Hito. I love out of all the people that were not in it, you went with Hito.
Dude, I mean, he was terrifying.
Like Jack Elliott in his prime, he'd probably win you a derby or two. I don't think there's any debate in that one.
Henry's first game.
Bigelow brought up Jack Parkman from Major League Two. Would
Okay.
probably be a good one,
Yeah.
especially in his prime. You could add 40 home runs to our lineup, at least, guys.
I'm on the Rookie of the Year Wikipedia page. Henry's first game is a relief appearance against the New York Mets, where his first pitch, he gives up a home run to Mets arrogant slugger Hito, and then hits a batter, throws a wild pitch, and yet
Arrogant
still
slugger.
manages to get his first save. I can't. This one's for mommy. When a runner
Read him a week, kid.
So here's how they describe the final scene with the at bat with Hito on the Wikipedia page. When the runner dares him to throw the ball high, Henry does so, but stops as the runner takes off for second and is tagged out, setting up a final showdown with Hito. Henry throws a changeup, which Hito misses, and then
Can't
his
hit your fastball.
next hit appears headed for the bleachers, but is ruled a foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
Henry opens his glove to find not his father's name, but Mary's,
His
his
mom,
mother, Pete Crow Armstrong's
who, if you
mom.
remember earlier in the movie, she floats the sunscreen on the road trip, and then pitching coach says,
Oh.
"I ain't seen the floater pitch since Scuffy McGee." Sorry,
You're
sorry,
so
I'm a
good-
nerd.
you're so good at
we've
movie
watched this a
quotes.
lot lately for Reese, so yeah.
In the stand, she signals him to throw the floater. He
Yeah.
does so and
The
strikes
floater.
out a shocked Hito, who then throws a tantrum at home plate,
He
winning
does.
the division title for the Cubs and headed to the World Series.
Yeah, it's
Which-
true.
Interesting jump in logic there.
Right. They just skip the NLCS, go right to the World Series.
Tom Milanovic played Hito.
Okay. Yeah, he looked a lot like Ogre from
Who-
Revenge of the Nerds.
It does not appear was actually given a first name. He was just Hito.
Yeah.
He was just Hito.
I feel like it'd be John Hito. Greg Hito.
He was just Hito.
Hmm.
You could,
Good
I
for
mean,
him.
his real first name probably would have been like, something really
Butch?
intimidating. Yeah.
Butch Hito.
Definitely Butch.
He looked like a Butch Hito.
Yeah. He's my winner. He'd be
Okay.
minus, he'd be
Hito?
minus
You've made a
250.
case. I
For
would
Hito.
include him.
But the whole thing about he might not be able to hit a BP fastball because Gardenhoser was throwing changeups and he couldn't even hit him. He couldn't even hit it, and
It's
then
true.
he couldn't hit the floater.
Yeah.
We should do. See, this is the perfect time of the year to do like baseball movies, and we make them real life.
Oh yeah,
like
I
we should
love
have
that.
we should have talk shows around like things in the natural,
Yep.
and they're real.
Yeah, you do a segment on. Did you guys see that game last night with the kid who just came out of nowhere? That Henry Rowan Gardner. Like, this dude's really going to pitch for the Cubs. Oh my god.
We could question managers' decisions. Lou
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
He was an
Right.
average player on his little league team, and now is the Cubs superstar. Interesting.
Mhm.
By the way, Tom
Interesting
Milanovic, who played Hito,
Has he done anything?
well, he passed in 2003.
Oh boy.
So there's your answer to your question, there, Nick.
Well, he did things prior to that, I'm sure.
He was in Groundhog Day. What did he do
What?
in Groundhog Day? State trooper. He was a state trooper in Groundhog Day.
Like when they get turned around trying to beat the snowstorm. I'll have to go back and
He was also in Hardball.
wait. The one with Keanu Reeves.
Yes. I don't think
Who
they
was in
needed
Hardball?
He couldn't have been a power hitter in that movie against the Cucumbas. I don't think he
Hell
would
no.
have fit in that
No.
league.
Love it when you call me Big Pop.
So yeah, 16 acting credits, a lot of random appearances in television shows. Also a state trooper in Groundhog Day, Hito and Rookie of the Year, and Ed in Hardball. I don't know what Ed did in Hardball.
What did Ed do?
I have no idea. No idea. Mason Daniel writes in, by
Speaking
the way.
of hardball, could we
Yeah.
throw Kofi in there? Kofi could hit bombs.
Kofi could.
Kofi could have been right up there with Kelly Leak.
And if you needed a pitcher, I can't remember the kid's
Yeah,
name.
the kid with Big Papa.
Yeah, the kid with the headphones
go-
on. Call it Big Pop. That guy was throwing gas.
We'd have to have Sandlot represented.
Well, yeah, then Benny,
Benny
the
the
Jet.
Jet.
Or,
Yeah.
or would the,
Well, no.
would Ham
Porter?
Porter
Ham
might be your
Porter
bigger.
Would be your guy.
Yeah. Benny the Jet's going to give you more power to the alleys. Maybe get you an occasional home run, but he's not going to give you the quantity.
It's not normal to see a catcher in a home run derby, but Salvador Perez has been in a home run derby.
The great Hambino could be.
Is Adley Rutschman in it tonight?
He is. Oh wait, no, he's not. No, he's not.
I don't.
No, he's
I
not.
think it's just Gunner.
He's not.
Yeah, well, you got to get those Orioles guys in.
The first place Orioles,
Jeez,
who got a
everybody
gift
loves
from the
those
Yankees
guys.
yesterday.
Mhm.
Yep. What's his name? Fell down. Whee! Just fall down.
Oh my God, Verdugo going after that ball in left field.
It is pretty funny.
I was telling Gary, I feel like that's me. We had our conversation about men's league slow pitch softball. I've had moments like that after we had a very prolonged pregame, and there was probably at least 6 beers in me. Trying to change trajectories when a ball's hit over your head.
They had to
That's
flip the
pretty
hips.
much what trying to flip the hips after 6 beers. That's what I would have looked like.
Exactly.
Verdugo, what's your excuse?
Did he have 6 beers?
He might have
before
had
the
6
game?
beers before the game.
He's just falling
Track and
over.
fly balls can be tough sometimes.
By the way, Mason Daniel writes in, he says, normally it's Sipple's job to reveal hosts' personal news. He did that with, who did he do that to? Oh, well, he did that to Josh, I think. And who did, well, John did it to Schaefer.
Yes.
John
did he?
John did it to Schaefer. So
I bet John did it with a lot of enthusiasm too.
yeah.
And so Shay was probably like, well, yeah.
He goes
yeah.
he goes, well, that wasn't something that we were like, saying out loud. It's pretty funny. It was pretty good.
All right. So,
that's what radio is all about.
I mean, Peter, put that on the resume.
Thank you, Peter.
Good Lord.
Breaking news.
Good Lord.
Not my finest moment.
No, Peter, it doesn't. No, don't feel bad at all. It doesn't
Connor
matter.
kind of wanted. He kind of wanted.
Yes,
to
I
do it
wanted.
himself.
I was baiting people into it. I was hoping that it wouldn't be you. I was hoping that it would be Josh, so I could make fun of him for the rest of time.
Listener calls in and goes, "Hey, Connor, it was great to see you and your wife out and about on Saturday night. Is your wife?"
You're like, and then that's when you just play into it and be like, no, why would you say that?
Are you?
Excuse me?
What are you trying to say?
Are you trying to tell me that my wife has
put on some
gained
weight?
What's what's wrong?
She looks normal to me.
Say it. Say what you're going to say. Say what you're going to say.
But there is the awkwardness when you you haven't seen a buddy in a while. And
yeah.
Maybe you don't necessarily know, and you don't.
Well, I don't think it's that difficult to tell at this
moment.
particular
Well, you're
if they're right around, if they're like right around the 4 or 5 months where there's something there, but you're not having to always prop it up.
That's the key for the
is to prop it up.
Well, yeah,
you got your hand underneath
yeah,
it, so you're cradling it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're cradling it.
You
when you're not doing that, and there's something there
for a picture, you're holding that thing early.
Yeah. If you're not doing that, but there's something there, that's where you got to tread lightly. Because it may not be what you think it is. It might be what, unfortunately, sometimes we just go through some months of bad decisions.
I'm good.
All right.
Have a good show.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
You guys have a great day.
I can't wait for 4 hours of Jack Caglione talk.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I thought you'd be excited.
I'm excited.
It's a guy that you've.
Is it just because you've seen him so much in Omaha lately that you're just you're Jack Caglioned out?
I'm a little. No, I'm not Jack Caglioned out. I am. I'm worried about his. First of all, he should never pitch.
He is.
Yeah, I know. So that worries me a little bit. But I don't know. Like, how has he? Is this what you get? Is this
like
what
this
you
is
get?
he's maxed out in Gainesville?
Yeah. Is this what you get? And then there's a big translation yet to come. He chases a lot of pitches. I don't know. Like, how does it work? How does it translate? I'm sure he'll be fine.
Talk to Rob Childress and see what his thoughts are.
Was he? Well,
I mean,
many people were concerned.
Yeah.
Was it?
You know what? Let's just walk him.
Yep.
Good idea.
Seeing the Kansas City media that were looking at highlights, and they're like 516 feet. We're like, yeah, you should have seen a foul ball he hit during the College World Series that ended up rolling up to Zestos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on one hop.
Yes.
I don't know. It wasn't much of a roll. It was on a hop.
It landed on the concourse in foul territory and right and went up and over the wall and down onto the street.
It's like, why are you pitching to him?
Yeah, what?
And then, then when you do pitch to him, he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, our bad.
So he's good.
So he hit it to Zestos.
I'm excited. Well, he might, maybe he'll be a storm chaser soon. Maybe he'll be a Royal soon.
Maybe he'll have a bobblehead soon.
Somebody asked me last night, like, what are the chances that we see him in Omaha or Kansas City, like by the end of this year? And I said 0% Omaha, but like maybe like 2% Kansas City. You
really like
if
the
they
end of the year?
Yeah, if they really,
they had a boost in tickets.
No, it wouldn't be about tickets. It'd be like, hey, what if this guy came in and is the rosters expand to what, 28 in September, 27 or 28 in September?
Could give you an AB or two.
He could just come in. Here's your job. Hit a home run or strike out. That's fine.
That's fine.
I mean,
either way.
He said initially they're going to let him do the pitching and the hitting, or at least
we're
experiment
team
with it.
no more pick up the ball.
No,
just hit
I'm
right there.
It's
with
a
you.
lot.
Well, the last example that we have of this was not good.
No.
Yeah, he got a little erratic.
Not good. He was throwing about 89.
Yeah,
it's like that doesn't work. Not going to work.
I don't
throw a lot of strikes either.
The whole Finnegan thing worked out.
Yep.
Finney.
He was playing the College World Series, and by the end of the year, he's in Kansas City.
That's
bag of
true.
donuts.
Boy, and his career went quick.
Yeah, yes, he was very important on those two teams. Well, really, just that one team, and then see you later. I'm excited. I'm more excited about Hunter Harvey.
It's a good pickup. Is he going to be your closer?
I think set up.
Move MacArthur to
no. I think you're going to keep rolling with the MacArthur project for now, and then go set up with him. Anyway, sorry. All right. See you guys later.
Good breakdown today.
See you guys later. Thanks. That's the crossover powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I mean, yeah, Nebraska's going to be a sexy pick. It's a very, dare I say, manageable schedule.
No, winnable games all over the schedule.
People really like the cut of Matt Rule's gym. This doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I am not surprised that this is the conversation. Quite frankly, I'd rather have this than the opposite.
Sure.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Partly cloudy, hot, and humid for your Monday with a high today of 95, feeling like 106. An excessive heat warning remains in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. Here this afternoon and evening, a 20 to 30% chance of storms, especially into western Iowa. Any storms that develop could become strong to even severe, with our main concern being damaging wind gusts. A bit hazy thanks to smoke from the Pacific Northwest. Staying partly cloudy, warm tonight with a low of 69. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. While discounts apply to our regular prices, select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
At Athletico Physical Therapy, our favorite patients are the impatient ones. The ones who don't want to wait 3 months to see a specialist or wait until that little pain becomes a big one. The ones who know that Athletico's therapists can help them take the recovery into their own hands. Our favorite patients are the ones who just can't and won't wait because they don't have to. So get a little impatient and start with physical therapy at Athletico. With no prescription needed in most states to get started, you'll be right back at it in no time. Schedule your free assessment at
Pacers Baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in to 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers Baseball on 1290 Coil.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks. Which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR Roofing offers a free hail and wind report online at jrhailcheck.com?
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Otson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Peter Krenzer with you as Josh is off and, enjoying a couple days of vacation. You know, you do what you normally do when you go on vacation, even in the radio world, which is you find a place to go, you take the family, and you learn about whichever city or place that you're going to. You enrich your family with great history and culture of the town and see whatever events are open for you. And Josh would like to learn more about Lincoln. So if you bump into Josh at a hotel pool in Lincoln today, tell him I said hello. That's where he's at. Peter will be here today, and then we'll have the Joey Man the next 2 days. I feel bad for the Joey Man because basically I call him the Joey Man because I call you the Peter Man, which makes a lot more sense. Peter Man, Peter Man. But and also Joey wants to go by Joe now, so we'll have to get that one settled.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. That's what people are telling me.
Okay.
So we'll suss through that over the next 2 days of the show. But welcome in. Happy Monday, coming back from a weekend. I don't have much to say about the events of the weekend, other than we'll get to that going into a break because it's hard to transition obviously out of it. So we'll talk about it here in just a second. Mike Schaefer will join the show at 11:30. Sam McEwen at 1:00. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Many things to get through today, including the disaster at Copa America final in Miami, where there was a stray dog. Did you see the dog? Did you see the little dog, Peter?
There was a dog amongst all this chaos?
There was a little. People noticed that right after when they busted through the gates there was a. Who brought their little dog with them to the Copa America final? I don't know.
God, that poor thing.
Yeah, I know. I think it's okay or whatever happened. People were going through the air ducts to get into the stadium.
We even have people out here losing dogs. Who brings a dog to a soccer game?
It's a great question and great points. Man. I don't know. We'll have a full investigation into that as we go on throughout the show today. Today is the day for some. The college football video game makes its return for the first time in 11 years. There has been much conversation about it over the last several months and years now. And now you finally get to do what every little kid dreams, which is watch people play video games on Twitter or Twitch for the next couple days. Nebraska made an intriguing move with an addition to their coaching staff, something that we'll talk about, I imagine, with both of our guests today, Schaefer and Sam. We'll talk about the MLB draft a little bit, some local flares to it, obviously, with Tyson Lewis going 51st overall. And yes, I'll probably have to talk about Jack Caglione. It's Home Run Derby Day, Major League Baseball. Of course, we can't go one single day without talking about Dylan Raiola, so we'll do that. SEC Media Days underway. Greg Sankey's talking. Hey, Greg Sankey, you have a massive conference and no divisions and no discernible way to tell who the best two teams are at the end of the year. How will you break the tie to get to the SEC title game? His response, we're sorting through that. We'll figure it out. Clock's ticking, Greg. Might want to figure that one out soon.
We'll get it.
The Big Ten, it might behoove the Big Ten next week when they have their media day to for Tony Petitti to actually lay out a nice plan.
They can learn from everyone's mistakes in their media days.
It's part of the beauty of going last or second to last in power conferences. We will have a graphic of the day or two. There's a college football playoff projection that I'd like to talk about. Some NIL stuff. A story by John Walker in the World Herald about a year in Creighton athletics and kind of what that looks like going forward. So we'll go a little bit of everywhere today as we encourage you to join Peter and I on this fantastic journey. Want to hear from you guys? 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees the Source hotline. You can call us. You can text us there. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor or Josh. Oh, well, don't email Josh O today. Peter, we did this last time, I think. You have a NRG email? You do, right?
I do, yeah. P. Krenzer.
P. Krenzer.
Yeah.
P. Krenzer.
Krenzer. At
NRGmedia.com. So
if you have any fun personal information you want me to share out over the airwaves.
Yeah, Peter's doing he's starting a new business on top of being an expert dog walker about town. He is also doing announcements on the radio.
Oh God.
So send Peter your personal information that you'd like to distribute to the masses, please. P. Krenzer at nrgmedia.com. So you can email us there in the Equitable Bank inbox, and of course leave a comment on the YouTube 1620 The Zone TV. That's on YouTube, or you can watch us, of course, conveniently located on our website 1620thezone.com, or the new and very, very convenient, somehow even more convenient than 1620thezone.com, zonetv.live. Please leave a comment there, as Charles writes in right now, and he says Caglione should never pitch again. I would enjoy that, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it works with them. I am excited, but I'm trying to temper my excitement about the Royals. But maybe I should be fired up. The Royals have a better player development situation than they have, so I'm so used to them getting draft picks, drafting the wrong guy, and then not developing the wrong guy, and them flaming out within 2 or 3 years, never making it to the major leagues or providing little impact whatsoever. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the monstrous Jack Caglione. Like I said, I before we head into break here, I don't have much to say about what went on this weekend, other than it's like, exhausting and incredibly disappointing. We all need to come together and handshake, meme each other at some point, and it feels like the more and more times that goes on, we get further and further away from that. And I think, what happened this weekend is, as there was an assassination attempt on the former president and a person who's running for president right now, in Pennsylvania, is an illustration of how far and radical the country is. It started out as like something so cute of like, man, what do we do online? We just yell at each other online, yell and yell and yell, and sometimes into the void, and you're yelling at the side that, or maybe sometimes you're preaching to the choir, right? And it ultimately, I don't know if it leads to what we saw on Saturday, but obviously it's incredibly sad. Sad day for our country, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't have much to say about it, other than it's obviously the biggest story in the country right now, and there will be ramifications and effects of it leading up to, and then of course through the election, which is coming up in just a few short months here. But man, all you could do is kind of hope and pray that everything turns out all right in our country. I already knew that I was going to do a horrible job at this, but it's turning out exactly that way. But it's sad, and that's exactly that's the point that I kind of want to get across. Okay, now that that's over, we can take a break. We'll come back. Any thoughts on? Hopefully not that. We'll sports are a really good way to provide a break and an ease from all that stuff. So as you've seen over the weekend, if you've been attached to social media or the TV or anything like that, you've probably been a barn with a lot of stuff like that. Maybe you like it. That's good. And you want to get to the bottom of how that happened and what happened and all that stuff. That's good. We are here to provide a little bit of a reprieve from that. So we hope to do that on today's installment of the Connor Happer Show. We'll be back with more next on 1620 The Zone.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
How does Host Coffee provide the best coffee for your workplace? By finding the richest and most robust coffee beans from all around the world and bringing them to our Nebraska roastery, where your coffee is roasted fresh and delivered straight to you.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A Day to Remember. The least anticipated album tour.
July 24th at the Astro Amphitheater.
A Day to Remember with special guests. The Story So Far, 4 Years Strong, and Scowl.
Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
The wait is over. Don't miss A Day to Remember.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Churco. Receive two $25 gift vouchers for just $25. From fresh pastas handcrafted daily to house dry-aged steaks and focaccia bread baked daily, Churco is perfect for date night or any night. Churco features crafted unique cocktails as well as an extensive Italian and American wine list. Churco, located at 192nd and Q and CIRCOOmaha.com.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. So we just noticed this. Peter, very attentive. Very, very attentive. You nothing gets by the Peter man. You know, we've noticed this.
As we've noticed.
But, once again, I would like to say that I do not care. Also, I'm going to keep making fun of you for it. So just so you know. But we don't, because we're not weirdos and don't buy Twitter accounts, or don't pay for Twitter because we don't have to. It appears as if we cannot stream our show, or we cannot put the streams of our shows on Twitter.
Elon has locked us out.
Yeah. So now more than ever is a very, very important time to know about zonetv.live, because it won't be like fed to you on your Twitter timelines until further notice, unless we maybe all come together and we buy our Twitter accounts.
We can all pool in some dough. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch is good to go, but yeah, the X accounts are not.
Elon snuck that one.
Apparently,
snuck that one underneath our noses, but you can't get it by the Peter man.
Okay.
He knows all. He knows all, folks. If you want to know specifically what we're talking about, go back and listen to the crossover within the last half hour. All right. Welcome to the show here on a Monday. Like we said, plenty of things coming. Schaefer will join us in about a half hour. Today is indeed the day. I mean, this might be like the top sports story of the day. Obviously, we have the home run derby tonight, which we could talk about. And we'll talk about specifically how the post home run derby slump, if you're worried about that, if say maybe you're a Royals fan, you're like, yeah, but I'm worried about Bobby Witt Jr. and, you know, is he going to win it? Sure, I don't care. But is he going to hit in the second half? We'll talk. We have some statistics for you to show that it may be a bit of a myth. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. That's our sports event of the day. But in sports, for all intents and purposes, the college football video game comes out today. EA Sports College Football 25. And so, first of all, I got a tweet from an old radio friend of mine, Jake Bogus, who used to do radio at the Ticket in Lincoln, and he was like, in response to my take, which you'll hear in a second, he was like, "What's more annoying, your buddy talking to you about his fantasy football weekend, or about what he's going to do on his online dynasty on the college football video game?" I was like, man, great question, but it gave me a great idea. So we had always toyed around with the idea on this show of presenting to you, like on a Monday after a football weekend, something called the worst segment ever, which would be for 10 minutes or so. Josh and I, and in this case, Peter and I, would talk to you about a variety of different topics, which are limited to the following. Number one, how we did in fantasy football. Number two, how we did in betting over the weekend. And now we can add number three, how's it going on our college football video game dynasty? Nobody would listen to that segment, and it would be called, quote, the worst segment ever. And we do that. I'm sure people would really enjoy yelling at it. Hopefully you would yell at us for 10 minutes at a time on a Monday. So we're cooking that up here for this fall. Trust me,
we're cooking it up.
Plenty of great ideas. But it brings me to my main point, which is this, and I don't know how much people care about this, like was stated. So you may have noticed that all of the YouTube, Twitch superstars got their hands of this game early. And so now you know everything that's going, every corner of the game, every uniform combination, every home field advantage thing, whatever it might be, that is in the game. And it hasn't even come out yet. And you've basically watched people play the game. And I'm sure like there's definitely advantages of that. It definitely pumps up excitement for the game. and all this stuff. But now, as an old school video gamer, I suppose, like I feel like I've played it already. I feel like I've seen the entire thing, and I had to basically just shut down. There was no way to do it, but my hope was over the weekend to shut down the stream of content that was coming at me from this NCAA football video game, from the EA Sports college football game. I did it, of course, and failed that way. But no doubt, like, don't misconstrue my distaste toward the Twitch streaming video game world and lack of understanding of why people would watch other people play video games. Don't let that be confused with this, which is I'm extremely excited for the game. I did pre-order it, and I will be playing this afternoon because I spent the extra $30 to play the stupid video game, which I am extremely excited about. It turns out that
something I should have done.
Well,
mistakes were made.
So now you'll have to sit around for 3 days and listen to everybody else talk about
know.
it and watch everybody else play it. There's going to be so much content that is fed to you, Peter, man. You're going to really not like it. They told me Dylan Raiola is like a 80. Is this true? That's what I saw.
I only saw the top 100. Did they release?
So everybody knows everything now because everybody's played the entire game, and we could tell who's what and all that stuff. I even saw one of the Nebraska aggregator accounts. They had the whole tunnel walk thing for a game against Iowa, where you could even see the Iowa fans, and they even got it right on which sections the visiting fans sit in. They go in the one corner in that southwest corner there, and then way tucked back in the northeast corner. It looks great, by the way. I'm very excited
because the last one didn't have the expansion in there in time.
That's right.
So we had the real old school.
The last college football video game it was just the old school single hangover East Stadium. So yeah, it'll definitely look a little bit there.
It does look like overall of 80 for Dylan.
There you go.
For
Dylon, 80 overall takes. Throw them at us. By the way, Andrew writes in on Twitter on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Does the Peterman have EA Play? He could play early for 10 hours if he does.
I do not, but a buddy of mine does. So he told me about that, which is another thing I didn't know about.
So that one got by you.
Another path I could have taken to getting it early that I dropped the ball on.
Johnny mails in on the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor at 1620thezone.com. Don't worry, if you start a weekly segment talking about this video game, I will yell at you. It will not be a weekly segment that is specifically dedicated to this video game, but if it's mentioned in the worst segment ever, then that is just an open period in which people are free to come. I guess the entire show is really an open period where people are free to come yell at us, but specifically during that one, we know what we're doing, right? So how'd you do over the weekend in gambling? How'd you do in your fantasy football? And how's your stupid video game dynasty going? I'm very excited about this segment, which will debut in a month and a half now as we get ready to go for the college football season and the football season in general. So today is the day. Get ready for your aggregator contents. We haven't had this game in 10 years, more than 10 years, and now we are in the weirdo streaming TikTok era. So I'm excited to see where that one lands. I have an idea.
Maybe we'll all just make a joint streaming account.
Maybe.
And we'll just play and
we TikTok it.
And
maybe this is how we become TikTokers, Peter. This is a good idea.
TikTok has made it so now that when people send me TikToks, I can't watch it because I don't have an account.
You haven't done it yet? That's surprising.
I knew if I got on there, it would just take up too much. I would get way too distracted.
It is, as Gary said, you are. I mean, you know what's going on in pop culture, right? You know what's going on.
I'd like to think so.
You watch TV shows, you watch movies, you know what's going on over there. So both you and Josh kind of cut from the same cloth. Neither of you, or I should say both of you, are resisting TikTok as long as you could possibly do it. Congratulations.
I am now forcing people that send me TikToks to take screen recordings so that I can access what the content is.
What a rule.
I'm sure
they're
love,
never going to do
I'm
that.
sure they love doing
Maybe they get to the point where they just don't send them to you anymore.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely the road we're going down. So I will miss out on that stuff, but
Kenneth,
I won't change my stance.
Kenneth is excited. He says 3 p.m. launch today. It sounds like the best segment ever. IMO. All right, cool. There's some excitement about the worst segment ever. We'll bring it to you. Don't worry. Come football season. All right, plenty more to come. We'll get to actual real things that happen, like Nebraska making a bit of an intriguing move with an addition of a former high school coach, adding to their staff that way, and plenty more Husker things. Like I said, we'll talk with Schaefer at the bottom of the hour. Plenty to come on a Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days. Students are off for the summer, people are taking vacations, and the days are longer. It's a recipe for good times and long-lasting memories. Sadly, it accounts for 37% of Nebraska's traffic fatalities. Someone's waiting for you at a ball game, a party, or a wedding. Don't let a crash keep you away. Focus on driving. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
If you love whiskey or just want to learn more about whiskey, you don't want to miss the largest whiskey event in the region. Get your tickets to Omaha Whiskey Fest 2024 at omahawhiskeyfest.com. September 28th at the Hilton Omaha downtown. 400 samples, more than 70 brands, expert presentations, and a whole lot more. General admission and VIP tickets available at omahawhiskeyfest.com. You can even make a night of it with special room packages from Hilton Omaha. Get your tickets now before they sell out.
Worried about damage from the recent storms? J-Tech Construction is a local company you can count on to make your home right again. We are the official exterior experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction's team of experts can help you with your insurance restoration process. Turn to who the Huskers turn to and call 402-261-3682 today for your free assessment. Whether it's hail, wind, or just time for an update, J-Tech Construction's team is the trained local solution you can count on. Call 402-261-3682 today.
Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. At Hims, we know it's always better to be ready. And the best way to be ready anytime is to go to hims.com today. Because when you go to hims.com/radio, you'll find doctor-trusted ED treatments for less, with the same active ingredient as Cialis. Available in daily pills or chews, Hims gives you that boost of confidence, knowing you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. To connect with a licensed medical provider, just go to hims.com. No in-person appointments or awkward conversations required. If prescription medication is right for you, it'll be shipped to your door for free. Starting at less than $2 a day, you can get an ED treatment prescribed 100% online, all for a fraction of the price of name brands. Get your confidence back with Hims. Get started with a free 100% online consultation today at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
You go into your shower feeling... But as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, one more thing about the video game here, Peter. I forgot that happened over the weekend too. So one of the people who got the game early was Travis Hunter. Considering he's a cover athlete, I guess that makes sense. And so he hopped online and started twitching with Shador, and they were playing and real Travis Hunter was using fake virtual Shador Sanders and running around in the pocket, and he was sacked. And then he berated his own offensive line and said that it was just like real life because those guys can't block. He was sacked.
Very fun.
He was sacked how many? I think he was sacked more than like 50 times last year.
Quite a few.
Yeah, it was so many. Let's see. 52 times. He was sacked 52 times last year. He was by far the nation's most sacked quarterback. So yes, that is a need that they believe that they of course have addressed this offseason with the addition of a couple transfers and a 5-star offensive lineman, but we will indeed see. So forgot that happened over the weekend as well, but another piece of funny content from what I refer to as the stupid video game, but I do love dearly and am excited that it's back. Nebraska did an interesting thing over the weekend. They have hired a former Kansas City area football coach onto their staff as an analyst, or senior analyst, I suppose. They'll have to figure out how they kind of want to do this thing, and that's definitely part of this discussion. By the way, he also happens to be the father of a 2025 highly recruited wide receiver prospect who's committed to Oregon at the moment. Jamar Mosey announced yesterday that he had been hired as a senior football assistant. He was an analyst at Central Florida after leaving Lee Summit North, where he had coached in the Kansas City area for several years before that, take a job on the UCF staff, and now he moves his way to the Nebraska staff. Like I said, his son, Isaiah Mosey, is who's heading into his senior season at Lee Summit North, is committed to Oregon, has taken an official visit to Nebraska. Like, obviously, an added benefit of bringing in a analyst of who is the father of a blue chip wide receiver recruit is that you might have better access to said blue chip wide receiver recruit. But I don't think that's what Nebraska's in for here. So remember, they made it so you could hire anyone you want at any time you want, and you could have them do anything you want, basically. The NCAA has a new allowance of unlimited on-field coaches during practice in games. And of course, not to get it confused, they are still limited in the amount of coaches that can go out on the road and recruit. You still only have 10 that could do that at any given moment, but you can get waivers and trade guys out and stuff like that. But they can have as many coaches as they want for on-field instruction. Obviously, there was, before this, there was only, they were limited to the head coach, the 10 assistants, and a couple grad assistants. And that was kind of it. And now you could do just a lot more with that. And that's where Nebraska has added a guy from the Kansas City area. I'll just take a couple minutes to talk about Kansas City real quick. Usually when we talk about Kansas City, we talk about the Royals on this show. And we'll continue to do that a little bit today. But I've always thought, and this is something that Schaefer and I will, of course, discuss in about 20 minutes because it was like a central focus of the show when he and I did a show together a few years ago. I've always thought that Kansas City was like a way, way underutilized, metropolitan area for Nebraska, especially over the last 10 years. Historically, Nebraska has been really good in that area. And it is recently as going back to, it's really tailed off in the last probably 7 to 8 years. But during the Bo era, it was a main recruiting hub for them. We talk about Michael Rose-Ivy. We talk about Malik Collins. They even got a commitment from Monty Harrison out of the area. I believe he was a Lee Summit guy as well in the class of 2014. Obviously, he didn't end up coming here. But now, by the way, he's back in college football playing at Arkansas, so that's kind of funny after a short well, I guess not that short of a minor league baseball career. Carlos and Khalil Davis. Nebraska got guys from the Kansas City area, and it made a lot of sense when Nebraska was able to do so when they were members of the Big 12 Conference. They were kind of facing south a little bit. They were, Kansas State were in the area. Maybe not necessarily the most fun times for either of those schools. And Missouri, by the time Nebraska started, but by the time Nebraska was getting a lot of those guys that I just mentioned, like Rose Ivy and Collins, Missouri was kind of off to the SEC as well. So they were not exactly in their bag at the moment. And Nebraska kind of cleaned up. They did a really good job. That's an area, that's a metropolitan area that has sent a lot of players to play major college football over the years, players to Clemson, players to Michigan. There's several examples out there. I always thought it was pretty underutilized. So if only the Jamar Mosey edition on Nebraska's staff is for that, to have a better connection with that specific city, I think it's a really great ad. And I wonder, it brings up another thought, and I want to talk more about Kansas City, but it brings up another thought in how Nebraska will kind of play this. And I've been under the impression that they will, continue to add assistants, but they won't get over bloated. Obviously, they have a gigantic staff.
The assistant to the assistant to the assistant.
Right. I don't know that I would call it bloated at the moment, though. And there's just going to be a lot that each of those coaches kind of have to do, and they can provide on-field instruction. So there's a bunch of different ways you can go with it. And what it seems to me is this is an important recruiting ad for Nebraska, and obviously a guy that they think is going to be a really good coach too, and he can kind of come up through the system, and Nebraska will sort of do it that way. As we've talked about before, Nebraska is not going to, it appears as if Nebraska is not going to be a place where they bring in former fired major college football head coaches. They pay them a couple $100,000 a year, have them sit on the staff while they rehabilitate their image or whatever. We've seen Alabama do this several times over the last several years under Nick Saban. They go to the school of rehabilitation, Nick Saban School of Rehabilitation, and then they kind of get out and go become head coaches again. It doesn't feel like Nebraska is going to approach it that way. They're going to bring in young people and move them up through the staff. And as Nebraska's full-time assistants become coordinators, and as those coordinators leave and take head coaching jobs, then they have a built-in pipeline that they can kind of use. So I think that's how Nebraska is going to approach it. So I think there's something to be said for the way that they're going to do it, which I love because, number one, it is a plan, right? Nebraska has an idea of how they want their program to look and how they want it to run. And I think as long as you have that and you have this kind of central compass, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. But then to go back to the Kansas City thing, like I said, it's been an important area, and Nebraska has sort of neglected it over the better part of the last decade. And so to have a connection back there, I think is important. We've seen many staffs kind of just hone in on individual cities and areas throughout the years. Mike Riley tried for St. Louis, the St. Louis Bermuda Triangle, never was able to get a guy out of there. I guess maybe got one and he left right away. And there's always been Miami, and there will always be Miami with Nebraska or Southern California, whatever it might be. And Kansas City is an area where they've had really, really talented, not just regional recruits, but national type of recruits go. And if you have more of a connection in the area, then you can go. But it seems so simple, right? It's 3 hours down the road, and Nebraska could and should be able to take advantage of that. So I think it's an interesting ad from that standpoint. And that's even before you get into the idea of, his son being a highly touted recruit who's currently committed to Oregon. And so there is that piece of it as well. But an intriguing ad, and I think it'll tell you a little bit about how Nebraska is going to approach it and kind of what they want to hone in on with their staff a little bit. There was an idea, and Dannon, Mr. Yogurt, mentioned this in his in his interview with Mitch Sherman last week that we talked about that story on The Athletic. He talked about how it won't be difficult to see schools going out there and building recruiting houses, or bolstering up their recruiting staffs to a point where these guys are going to come in and, there's going to be a recruiting house, and then you grab the players and then they feed them to the coaches, sort of like an NFL style system. Obviously, recruiting not a thing in the NFL, but there's player personnel departments, scouting departments, and stuff like that. Then it's the coach's job to develop the players that you get rather than choosing and developing. I think Nebraska is going to go with the really, really traditional college style of, and Dan had mentioned this, you want to get recruited by the coaches that you are going to be coached by at the place that you're at. And so I think that's sort of how Nebraska is going to approach it, but it's interesting to add what could be a really nice recruiting ad for Nebraska, and then obviously a really good coach as well. I just flipped on the basketball. USA is playing Australia, and Jack McVeigh in the whatever international event is going on right now. I can't
Nick Trey.
I can hardly keep track of these. Like,
there's too many.
There's Copa America. So soccer, we have Copa America, we have the Euro thing, and then in basketball, we're gearing up for the Olympics. And so what's going on with that?
But then there's also Eurobasket, apparently.
There's Eurobasket. And then there's like the U20 and U18 versions of these as well. We have Nebraska has Berke, who's in the U20 Eurobasket thing. It's very, very difficult to keep track of.
A lot happening.
But okay, so this is where I need you as we transition out of Jamar Mosey. By the way, actually, we had one thing from John on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, "Yes, let's talk about Kansas City. Their numbered streets run east and west. That is wrong, and they should fix it." Now, hold on. Isn't that a thing here in our lovely city of Omaha? Our numbered streets run east and west, correct? We start at the low numbers downtown, and as you get further west, it goes to the higher numbers. John, what's wrong? What do you mean? Doesn't Lincoln have the same thing where it starts at 0 basically at downtown, and then you can go to west? Further you go west, the numbers get bigger. Further you go east from downtown, the numbers get bigger as well. What's the problem? I don't get it. What's the issue? I have no idea.
Let's unpack.
I'd like to get a follow-up.
I'd like to get
get a follow-up on that one from John. But okay, so you got to help me out with this Copa America thing.
Okay.
First of all, what I've come to understand what it is. This is obviously the event that the United States sucks at because they suck at soccer just in general, and people don't want to admit it to themselves. So last night we had the final between Colombia and Argentina, and this happened to be in Miami, where the United States was hosting, as they will host the 2026 World Cup. I guess they'll co-host it with Canada and Mexico as well. But there will be World Cup events taking place in America. It did not go well in Miami last night, just as far as the hosting capabilities from the United States were concerned.
It went so poorly.
So we had people barging through the gates at before the game started, and then it actually caused a delay in the game. They had to take the players off the field because a whole bunch of people got into the game who were not allowed into the game that had tickets. There was people climbing through the air ducts and things like that. What in the hell was going on down there, and how did it fail this bad? I have no idea.
There something somewhat similar, and this is where the argument I've seen.
Do we just blame the people, or do we blame us?
I've seen the argument that USA was not prepared to host this game. They didn't put in the proper protocols. There was a very similar situation like this that happened at the Euro final in 2021 in London, where England was also in the final that year, and a lot of fans stormed the gates to try to get in. And there was delays in that game, and it was a very similar.
Maybe it's just crazy soccer.
When I saw it was going to be these two teams in Miami, where obviously Messi plays in Miami, he's garnered a large following there.
Yep.
And
then he screwed up his ankle.
Oh my God. Did you see the picture of it?
I didn't.
It looked like a bowling ball. It was
I had a decision to make last night in about the 75th minute. I'm like, all right, I'm getting tired.
Executive decision.
I'm getting tired, but I am, while I don't know a lot about soccer, I know a little bit, and I could feel how things are going to go. I could feel that we were trending toward this game lasting at least another hour,
playing 30 extra.
And
minutes.
so, did I want to make the investment of, if I went past that point, staying another hour or not? And I pulled the plug. I went to bed, and so I woke up to find that somebody won the game. Argentina.
It took a while.
But
yeah, maybe they should have reinforced security a little bit, but I was not totally caught off guard that there was people trying to get in that didn't have tickets, because this just seems to be a thing that keeps happening for some reason in these major championships. I don't know why
they can't contain their excitement. I mean, to be fair, it was the environment was electric.
It was.
Now, I do have some issues with the United States in this regard. Do we need a 30-minute Shakira halftime show? And I know what your guys' responses are going to be to this. It's like, of course, Happer, we always need more Shakira. Did you see her?
Shakira,
and I'm like,
Shakira.
Yeah, I get it. I really it's great. But not everything needs to be the Super Bowl. Like, when we host the World Cup in 2 years, it's very easy to see how this is going to go. We're going to Super Bowl the hell out of everything. And
just destroy the field at halftime with the Shakira concert.
It's not very soccer, right? It's football. It's definitely American football, right? You have a big halftime show, and the halftime is like, what is it? It's a television product. The one reason why soccer seems to be one of the most pure kind of old school sports that we have is because intentionally it is not a television product. Like, they, if you watch soccer in the football, whatever, in the European countries, like, they intentionally make it very difficult to watch those games because they want people to go to them and they want the environments to be really good. And that's just an area where we have blown way, way past in the United States. So when we host this thing in a couple years, it's going to be a very Americanized version of the worldwide soccer game, which will be kind of weird. The game was originally scheduled to start at 7. It ended up kicking off at 8:22. And then there was 120 minutes of both regular and extra time. And then we had the Shakira concert in the middle of it. I mean, this is several hours. The game was supposed to start at 7 Central. I think it was after midnight or right around midnight when it ended, right?
It was like 11:30 almost, I think. It was late into the evening.
Chaos.
Yeah, and people in the ventilation system, people just running through security checkpoints.
The pictures were nuts.
Oh, the executive suites destroyed, and a whole escalator was
I saw that.
taken out.
Yeah.
And then I just feel terrible for the people that actually bought tickets.
I know.
And they're
like, what if you're just a guy who's like, man, this is really cool. I want to go to this.
Oh, yeah.
Ticket.
They interviewed a guy. He bought his ticket, flew, paid the money for everything. And they said, nope, you're not getting in because it's chaos.
Johnny mailed saying a riot at a soccer match? That is crazy and completely unheard of.
Unfortunately.
I'm reading this from the ESPN story. Argentina midfielder Alexis McAllister's mother, Silvina, said she needed her son's assistance to enter the stadium and described the situation outside as, quote, inhumane. She said the two were in constant communication as McAllister waited in a Hard Rock Stadium tunnel to assist his family inside. Quote, Alexis had to leave the locker room and help us get in because he was worried. I thought the game couldn't continue. She said in a post on social media, I thought the game wouldn't be played because if the players thought that they would resolve this, it would be impossible that it would be played. It was inhumane, but we are okay. Inhumane is such a vivid word to use in a situation like this. So maybe not great by the United States hosting, and yes, maybe there could be proper precautions taken next time.
It's safe to say that from an American perspective, this tournament could not have gone worse. The team itself was horrendous, and the hosting side of things took a big dip.
Yep.
And we're now 2 years away from the biggest tournament in the world.
Do they hire a coach yet?
Nope.
Perfect.
2 years down the toilet. When they could have hired someone.
United States, I mean, they have proclaimed many times that they would like to be an international leader in this sport that everybody has so much of an advantage on them on just because of its built-in tradition and, ability to get kids growing up and playing soccer all the time. But they've said for a long time that they want to be a worldwide competitor. Who wouldn't? And then continually when they get on the international stage, they make a huge fool out of themselves. So we'll see how that goes.
Things are fun
over the next 2 years. We'll take a quick time out. Mike Schaefer will join us on the other side. We'll talk about the addition to Nebraska's coaching staff. And there was an addition in the recruiting class over the weekend. Schaefer on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley.
From the South Bay to the Valley.
Randy Newman.
From the West Side
George Kennedy
to
eating
the
cake.
East Side. Everybody's very happy because the sun is shining all the time. Looks like another perfect day. I love LA. We love it.
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, hazy, hot, and humid today with the high today in Omaha of 95, feeling like 106. An excessive heat warning remains in effect until 8 o'clock here this evening. The slight chance for showers and storms, especially into western and central Iowa, with a threat of severe, damaging wind in excess of 60 miles an hour possible. Partly cloudy tonight, warm with a low of 69. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? Powerful enough to let your band members in Vegas, Phoenix, and Omaha jam like you're all in the same garage. Introducing Cox Fiber from the company with the fastest download speeds 9 years in a row. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, always building better. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence in Las Vegas, Omaha, Phoenix. Fixed median download speeds Q2 2016 to Q1 2024.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
The world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is available right at your fingertips in Iowa. The Circa Sports Iowa app is sports betting the way it should be. Bet anywhere in Iowa and experience high betting limits, tight money line splits, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com and start betting like a pro from anywhere in Iowa. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Post Coffee is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage de nouvelles langues. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
You guys just didn't want it bad enough. That should have been an easy win. What were you doing out there? You got to hustle. You could have made that play if you'd been open.
On the car ride home after the game, when you think you're helping by telling me what I did wrong and what I need to work on, all I hear is that I'm not good enough, that I'm supposed to be perfect, that it's not okay to lose. On the car ride home, all I need to hear is how much you love me and enjoy watching me play, that my worth isn't determined by my performance, that even on my worst day, I am worthy, that you see me learning, growing, and doing my best. And that is enough.
This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
All right, we'll see if we can track down Schaefer here as we welcome you back here on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We're watching an exhibition here between the United States and Australia in basketball. I assume this is in Vegas. I know it's so they shipped out Gus. So Gus only got to do the Friday game or whatever that was against Canada. And now it's Jason Benetti and Bill Raftery on the call. So obviously, you're just getting ready here. But the thing that you notice is how first of all, how good the other teams are. But secondly, I didn't really think that I was going to have a take on USA basketball.
This
today,
is in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, it's in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's what they were talking
Las
about.
Vegas
earlier.
on Wednesday against Canada last week was Vegas. Now first of two games in Abu Dhabi.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're in Abu Dhabi, and that probably makes sense because it is 11:30 in the morning after all, and it'd be 9:30 in Vegas. But so not only you notice how good the other teams are, either with NBA players, former NBA players, or really good international players, or former really good college players, or whatever it might be, you will notice how unafraid they are of the United States of America at basketball now. I think that might. So while we don't seem to be gaining much ground internationally in soccer, here's your international sports America versus the world update. It does not seem as if we are gaining much ground on anybody in terms of soccer at the moment. It might be happening behind the scenes, but from a results perspective, it's definitely not. On a basketball perspective, the rest of the world seems to be gaining on us a little bit. Look at all of the foreign players that went in the first, 5-10 picks of the draft this year, 5-10 picks of the draft every year. Like, nobody's really afraid of the U.S. anymore in hoops. I think that's probably pretty noticeable. All these games are pretty competitive now. All right. Anyway, we'll Schaefer said he'll call back in just a few minutes, so we'll maneuver some stuff around here. But let's get to the MLB draft last night. So we could talk about Cags. Obviously, everyone loves a guy who can either be a two-way player. We are infatuated with the people who have pitched successfully in college or in high school and have hit successfully in college or high school, which really it almost actually used to be a deterrent to teams. It's like, well, he doesn't do one thing greater than the other. But, it turns out Cags was one of the best at both this year. Or in a very specific case, we are obsessed with the people who can throw with both hands now. Durangelo, I always get his name wrong. Sinche, the switch pitcher from Mississippi State, was drafted by the Mariners at 15th overall. There's always like a weird quality with all of these guys, and I think that's a trend that we have going on in Major League Baseball right now. But yeah, so we can talk about Cags a little bit later on if you want to. Tyson Lewis was drafted 51st overall by the Reds last night. Tyson Lewis, he of Millard West fame. That's we'll see he's committed to Arkansas. We'll see what kind of money is being thrown around there. Do you take a chance on him at 51 if you don't think he has some signability? If you're the Reds, it's another part of the draft that people don't have a great understanding of, but it's there. But I the thing that I notice, maybe more so now, and it's been trending this way over the last couple of years with the changes that we've seen in college baseball, and then of course the shortening of the draft. We talked about it nonstop during the College World Series, how old these guys are, how they wouldn't be around if the draft was set up the way it used to be set up with 50 rounds and all this stuff. We're just getting a lot more quality college baseball players now. And so what you see is college guy Travis Bazzana getting picked at number 1, college guy Chase Burns being picked at number 2, Charlie Condon, the best player in college baseball this year, at number 3, Nick Kurtz, Wake Forest, number 4, college guy, Hagen Smith, college guy, number 5, Jack Caglione, college guy, number 6, JJ Weatherholt, number 7. Like, you can just keep on going down the list, and a lot of these guys played in Omaha. You have to go to number 9 before you get to the first high school guy that's drafted. That's pretty uncommon if you look back from what it was just a few years ago. So we can talk about that a little bit later on in further depth throughout the show. But we are now joined on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline by our dear friend Mike J. Schaefer. Schaefer, hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are we doing on this Monday morning of NCAA 25 return? The MLB draft is happening. Is the home run derby tonight?
The home run derby is indeed tonight, and Bobby Witt Jr. is in it.
And so is Jose Ramirez. How fun is that?
Wow. A lot to root for if you're a Guards fan these days. Randomly, thanks to the draft lottery, get the number 1 pick and end up with the most Cleveland Guardians guy of all time in Travis Bazzana.
Yeah, the only way it could maybe be more Guardians is if he wasn't Australian, but that makes him cooler, so I'm glad that he is.
Yeah, that's a good pick, that's for sure. Hey, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. What do you like? There's a few different components, I think, to the addition to Nebraska's staff and Jamar Mosey here. What's the first thing you think of? Like, does it strengthen Nebraska in Kansas City? Do you think about his son? Like, where does your brain go first?
Long term, what you hope is that it helps Nebraska in the Kansas City, Missouri area. Areas where they want to recruit and be a bigger presence than they maybe have been in the past. He's a really well-known figure in that regard. Short term, your mind immediately goes to Isaiah Mosby, and this is a wide receiver Nebraska really wants. He came in for an official visit in June, even though he was committed to Oregon. He took an official visit to Oregon right after the Nebraska one. Has not talked publicly about any of these trips. He also went to Kansas, and you kind of just get the sense that the door is pretty open, and Nebraska hiring his dad may have opened the door even more. And so there might be something to that. But it's an interesting off-season hire. I can't really get into the specifics of what it might do because we don't really know what his role is going to be, but it's hard to envision that it wouldn't result in, a greater effort in the Kansas City, Missouri area.
Well, I texted you last night because this is something that coincidentally we have talked a lot about over the years. Nebraska's had flirtations with various, like they're trying to get their hooks in various cities. We've talked about the St. Louis Bermuda Triangle before. How has Kansas City been this neglected, or they just haven't got really much results? And we're talking about over a span of like 10 years now from that area that used to be such a mainstay in what Nebraska was doing from a recruiting perspective.
Yeah, I feel like they haven't emphasized it enough. I mean, you had Scott Frost who would pay it lip service, and Ryan Held, who knows the area well, would go recruit it. But it didn't feel like they were all in on trying to pull kids from the Kansas City area. And it feels like that's a mistake that has just played out over and over and over. You go back to Bo's staff, John Garrison did a really nice job going into, the suburbs of Kansas City on both sides or in both states. And Nebraska pulled quite a few players, guys that were helpful, in the Davis twins, and they had the commitment of Monte Harrison.
Yep.
But even then, it felt like there was some players that clearly fit what they needed and what they were doing, but they just didn't they didn't really commit themselves to it. And then what's weird is as Nebraska starts to vacate the area, we see Michigan and Wisconsin and Iowa State start to come in more heavily. All of a sudden, here's Texas and there's Oklahoma. And, this is a spot that Nebraska, frankly, should have been cleaning up for years. And in particular, coming off of some of the success that they had with some guys with Bo Pelini, it could have really kind of built into being a bigger thing. And yet Mike Riley didn't do a lot with it. Scott Frost didn't do a lot with it. Matt Rule has attempted. And it just hasn't gone how you think that it would. I mean, Nebraska should be able to go into Kansas City and get at least a player or two every year. And if those guys become any kind of players in your program, that helps recruit itself. It's just been an oddity to me, having covered Nebraska recruiting now since 2011, just how little of a focal point it's been for various staffs, despite the fact it's the biggest metro area, inside of a 3-hour radius. And it's not like it's a difficult, in the age of trying to get kids up for visits all the time, it's not like it's a difficult area to tell kids to take a 3-hour drive on Saturday morning to go watch Nebraska play. Like it's just been a little baffling. The results have been so uneven. I think some of it just comes down to you have to make it a priority, and they haven't. And now maybe they finally will.
So yeah, you mentioned it. If they do, or they maybe will, they now walk back into a situation in that specific metropolitan area in Kansas City that is vastly different from the one where they left it a decade ago. It's a lot tougher now. Not to mention, I mean, the schools that you mentioned that have recruited there and have had success, like Michigan and Clemson and Wisconsin and whatever national type of programs who have come in and got a player from there and had success with that player. Also, Kansas is good. Also, Kansas State is good. Missouri, is pretty good as well. So it's just vastly different than it was. It just feels like like you said, a wasted opportunity for the last decade or so, to where Nebraska could have and should have been cleaning up, where all those programs were down and there was nobody else in the area. And now if they're trying to go back in, it's a situation that is vastly more difficult.
Yeah, well, and think about some of the top guys they've chased out of that area just in this cycle alone. You have Mosey, who's committed to Oregon, and then you have Dawson Merritt, who's going to Alabama. So it's not like it's this secret anymore. I mean, people know there's talent in Kansas City, and they're coming to recruit it. So, Nebraska's going to have to find different ways to sell itself. And some of that also comes down to, they're going to have to take some chances on some guys that maybe aren't as highly rated, or they're going to have to find some diamonds, if you will. And there was some guys that were there in the mid 2010s. There's Elijah Lee is the great example that I have. Nebraska passes on Elijah Lee, who made it to the NFL, played 3 years as a starter for Kansas State as an outside linebacker, defensive end, edge type. And Nebraska basically passed on him for DeAndre Wills, who quit the team on his second day and transferred to Jacksonville State, never to be heard of again. It was bizarre in the moment when I got the phone call that they weren't going to recruit him anymore. It made even less sense when DeAndre Wills quit the team. And then it just harkens back to you watch Elijah Lee get drafted and have a cup of coffee in the NFL. And it's like, that guy wanted to come to Nebraska because the Davis twins were going there. It just doesn't, little mistakes like that add up over time. And then when you don't have staffs to focus on the area, it just suddenly gets, the gap just grows and grows and grows. I mean, I don't think Kansas City cares about Nebraska the way that it used to, and that will hurt your recruiting.
From a more internal perspective on Nebraska here, Shafe, speaking of a staff hire, how do you envision Nebraska handling its ability to bolster its staff even further and to add, analysts wherever they see fit, like in this situation? Is it like, how do you see that going? Is it a variety of different things that they can do with it? Obviously, it's kind of, unlimited here, but how far do you see Nebraska taking their newfound ability to bring in as many assistants as they need to?
I think it has to fit with whatever Matt Rule's plan is, because ultimately he's the one that controls all the things that are going to happen anyways. So if he feels like it's of value for them to go get some specific analysts that can help you recruit in key areas, like perhaps the Jamar Mosey will do in Kansas City, but you go out and you try to find those guys in, California or Texas or whatever that can kind of help with that area. I mean, you could certainly try to shore up extra help at different positions. You have your coordinators. If you want to remove them from doing as much, on the field instruction and focusing more on game planning and everything else, maybe you're bringing in another coach to help with tight ends, so Marcus Satterfield is less tied up with that. Maybe you're bringing in more coaches to help with defensive backs or linebackers, so Tony White's less tied up with that. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know what Matt Rule will do. The interesting thing is he's the kind of guy that he kind of wants to do everyone else's job anyways.
I know.
And so it takes a lot of trust, I think, for him to put someone in an empowered situation where they can be impactful and helpful. So I don't know that he's just going to just throw the doors open and hire 25 new assistants, because they're going to have to be vetted and they're going to have to earn their worth, or earn their keep. So prove their worth. I'm mixing metaphors here, mixing cliches. So it's a deal where with Matt Rule, it's really unique. If it was a different coach, you'd be like, okay, well, he's clearly just going to try to take advantage of the fact that Nebraska's more than happy to add all of these different coaches if it results in more wins. Rule, I don't think he's going to go that route. I think he's going to force people to prove that they belong here, that it's a privilege to coach at Nebraska, that you don't have this bloated staff where you see 15 guys and you wonder what the hell they're doing here.
Schaefer, how did Dylan Raiola come in at number 8 on your guys' indispensable list? This is shocking.
I think in part because we've never seen him play. I mean, how can you put him too high if you only have a relatively tailored to be successful spring game appearance at this level? So, and then the other thing is, I mean, if he gets hurt, you're going to a guy who's at least started multiple games in Heinrich Harburg, whereas there's probably some bigger losses that are going to be coming up on the list if those guys were to go out. So obviously quarterback, massively important position, Dylan Raiola, a lot of expectations, a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. But I do think it's worth tempering some of that because he's never played college football.
Yeah.
I mean, he a more important player than Nash Hutmaker? Yes, probably in terms of the position alone. But if you lost Nash Hutmaker, what does that do for the rest of your defensive line? And what does that do for the rest of your defense? Do you have the capable person to just throw right in there? I don't know. Obviously you don't want to lose any of these players. So I hate even talking about it in those tones. But I do think rather than just pumping Dylan Raiola to the moon, it's better to take at least a cautious approach and look stupid at the end of it than stupid because you put him number 1. You've never seen him throw a pass in college football.
Now, we obviously have the unknown of him, but here's my argument against it. Like, and I, by the way, I'm fine with where he ended up on your list. I'm obviously not going to get fired up about an indispensable list, but the argument against it is this: like, we have seen what happens if it's not Dylan Raiola playing quarterback, and it would assumingly be Heinrich Harburg, the guy that you mentioned who's played a lot of snaps. I don't know if I love that picture either. So that like there is that. I mean, there is still, even though we haven't seen any Dylan Raiola yet, there is still likely going to be a drop off between 1 to 2, as you would expect. It's just how significant is it?
Yeah, well, and the counter argument I would make to that to keep the conversation going, because that's what the people would want, is that Heinrich Harburg would have more offensive pieces around him, likely a different offense, and a year of tutelage under Glenn Thomas that probably would be helpful in terms of his growth as a quarterback. I thought he looked like a little bit different of a player in that spring game. And we saw him open it up with some of those passes. That dude still has an arm. There's a reason why he was an FBS quarterback. There's a reason why I don't believe that Jalen Gramstad is just going to come in and be the number 2. So I still believe Heinrich Harburg can be a helpful piece for this team. And if they have to go to him for a short spurt, I think it can be successful. I get a little more worried if it's, an 8-week kind of thing.
So I know you texted me a couple weeks ago asking for advice about video game consoles. Where did you end up in preparation for today?
I don't know that I would have. I texted you in like November about that. I've had a PS5 since November.
Oh, okay.
A
couple weeks ago, November. What's the difference? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, time is relative. So, you'll find that out even more, I suspect, as we go forward. But
yes.
Yeah, I got a PS5 preparing myself for this moment. I actually went back and forth and just decided to buy the more expensive copy to get the early advanced release today. Did I need it? No. Should I have saved the money? Probably. Will I still try to convince an accountant to let me write it off on taxes because I'm going to write articles about it? Absolutely.
Oh,
but
nice.
That's what we're here for. We're here for NCAA football 25 content. I'm excited to get my hands on it later today.
Are you going to be Twitch streaming Schaefer? I would pay for Twitch streaming Schaefer on NCAA football.
I have some ideas. I don't know. I don't know where I come down with it. Like I don't want to present myself as any sort of like good video game player. The last time that I felt like I would have a lot of confidence in my ability to play this game would have probably been on the PS2 version, many moons ago. So I don't know that I really want to open the doors to just random people calling me terrible. I already have that on Twitter and a message board.
Yeah.
I don't know that I need that through video games.
That's fair. Schaefer, good luck with that. I look forward to whatever content is coming out. I look forward to hearing about your ability to potentially write it off as a tax write-off. So that's exciting. But more importantly, thanks, and we'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it. Sorry for being a little party today, but I'm glad that we were able to have this rousing Monday conversation in the middle of July. We're getting closer.
Yep, no problem. Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. Appreciate him as always. Wow, I'm looking forward to whatever content Schaefer has coming out from it. Exciting.
Yeah.
There's all the
I hope he gets
content
that right off.
ever dream of. Great question from Charles on the YouTube. What would Schaefer's Twitch catchphrase be? Like, so we got the one guy saying, "What's up, brother?" We'll text him. People are wondering what your Twitch catchphrase would be. So we can talk more about the quarterback thing a little bit later on, because like I said, the 24/7, and BC teased this on Friday when we had him on the show, but the 24/7 guys came together and voted for their most indispensable players in the lead up to the season. Dylan Raiola came in at number 8. Maybe a little bit surprising for some people. Definitely easily explained. We'll do that. And, part of the case is what Schaefer just made. So we can talk about that coming up as we go on throughout the show. And Sam McEwen will join us in just about an hour. Peter will have the odd news when we return on 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
If you're a licensed real estate agent in Nebraska or Iowa looking to take your career to the next level, Modern Real Estate is seeking outgoing, high-energy individuals to join the team. Whether you prefer a salary-based, commission-based, or hybrid compensation structure, they have options to fit your needs. With leads provided, you can focus on what you do best, closing deals and achieving success. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to work with a dynamic and innovative company. Email your real estate experience to Tyler@modernrealestateco.com and start building your future with Modern Real Estate today.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like climbing a mountain, but that mountain is also covered in banana peels. Then when something new gets added to your list, you're like, nope, I'm already climbing this huge, super slippery banana peel mountain of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to manage your policy on our mobile app. So climbing that banana peel mountain feels more like a leisurely stroll. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, planning a trip to a state park? One of Nebraska's 76 state park lands? Excellent. But don't forget your state park permit, money for camping fees and other activities, a fishing permit if you want to wet a line, and oh yeah, a 6-foot leash for Scruffy, your pet. Thank you, and we hope to see you out there. By the way, you can get all kinds of information on the Nebraska State Park lands through the Game and Parks website. That web address is outdoornebraska.gov. Are you going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible, and release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience, and we'll see you out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Hi, everyone. Broadcaster and ER physician Dr. Jerry Punch here. We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral. Because if you drive over the speed limit, you could do damage that's beyond repair. One way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
No odd son, but we do indeed still have the odd news. People fired up in the chat. Theo says, stop. The Harburg is an acceptable QB2 narrative. Okay, maybe this is something that we could talk about more in the noon hour when we talk about Dylan Raiola and what happens after him. Still plenty to come today on the show. Also, it is a good point in time to remind people, like we said earlier in the show, apparently Elon took our ability to stream to Twitter now because we don't pay him several dollars. How much, by the way, Peter, do you know how much it is a month to get the
I want to say it's like $10, $10 or something, between $8 and $10.
Twitter verification. $8 a month for the blue. Well, this was
$8 too many.
This was as of last year. You know how many subscriptions? Like that would just I don't know. Like I've been getting this free, and I really don't need it. Although it's a nice place to source news together, but just little by little, Elon's made it more and more difficult for people who don't pay for their lives, just a little bit more difficult. And now we're not able to show people the lovely things that we're doing on our shows on a daily basis via the beautiful platform of Twitter. So it's a great time to remind people, head to zonetv.live to watch us, or on YouTube 1620 The Zone TV, or on Facebook. We're on Facebook. Peter gets all his news from Facebook.
Maybe
you like that? All right.
That was good. That
Okay.
was good. But yeah, at least Facebook's working.
Here's Peter's Facebook odd news.
Well,
what do we got?
We're kind of all over the map here today.
That's fine.
We're hitting all sorts of quadrants, but let's start with sandwiches.
I love
food
this.
news.
I'd love to
if you
start
will.
here.
Are you like, if somebody were to bring like a giant sub into work and you'd be like, hey, we can all split this sandwich. Does that interest you? Or are you like, I need to have my own sandwich?
So
as opposed to having a
okay.
giant sub that you like slice up.
Okay. Well, that was my follow-up question. Like, are we talking about like a giant, like 3 to 6 foot long sandwich that has been chopped up, pre-chopped up into pieces that you're supposed to like take out and eat one piece at a time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I love that.
Well, then maybe this will interest you because
Okay.
in South Africa, a sandwich place has created a nearly 10-foot long sandwich. And it has just an absurd amount of toppings on it.
Love it.
And they
You're saying South Africa created this gluttony before we did?
Yeah.
This is
This
surprising.
is not an American sandwich.
But are you also telling us that we have already not created a 10-foot sandwich? I find that hard to believe.
Oh no, we most certainly have. I thought this particular the ingredients on here was interesting because it reminds me more of what might be on like a burger or something.
Okay, what's on the sandwich?
So it's described as with no less than 10 layers of fillings. It tipped the scales at 145 pounds.
Nice.
And here's all the ingredients. Nearly 7 pounds of tomatoes, 44 pounds of meat ranging from sausage to steak to burger patties, and then also some chicken fillet.
Okay.
3 layers of fries, 22 pounds nearly. To break up the meats. That's its job.
Okay, so this is not your casual.
This is not a deli
No.
sandwich. I quickly realized.
This is something a little bit more.
And then a layer of calamari for those who prefer seafood, as if the rest was not enough. And then a generous helping of onion rings on top. So it's a lot of like.
I would kind of mess with a calamari sandwich, though.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. But honestly,
hey Peter, I'm in.
I would try it.
I love a party sub. I love a I like a potluck. I don't like to bring many things to the potluck, but if you put this out there, I'd be like, there's no doubt I'm going in.
Yeah.
There's little to no doubt.
I feel like it probably smells delicious. It says they invited about 140 of their regular customers and they all just shared it and finished it.
Now the question is, I guess, the same toppings. I wouldn't want to put the same toppings on all of those different kinds of meats. I would want the toppings to change with the meat.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff that works on a burger that doesn't work on chicken or like whatever it might be. But
this is true.
I would say generally in these settings, if you're bringing in a 10-foot long sub, say to the office, I'm not going to be very picky about what I eat. That's just kind of how I roll. A bit of a human trash can. By the way, Twitter, a text comes in from Happer's Meme Guy. Poll question: would you mess with a calamari sandwich?
Oh, this is good. I'll post that.
Also, I just received a text that says, do you bleep with calamari? I do bleep with calamari. I
love calamari.
Peter, man, I'll put that up. You stick with the odd news.
You got it. All right. This is on the heels of the ridiculous events at the Copa America.
Yes.
This is just like really weird timing, but it's kind of remarkable. So an old photo came out of Messi back in 2007 doing a photo shoot for UNICEF.
Okay.
And he's holding a baby in this photo. And it has just been discovered that the baby is Lamine Yamal, the breakout player for Spain, who just turned 17.
Oh,
and won the
nice.
Young Player Award at the Euros this year. And I thought that was insane.
Do you have do you have any pictures of you as a baby being held by one of your favorite athletes?
Would be nice.
We have seen examples of this over time of like here is this person as not quite a baby like being held by, or like here's the thing that we've seen the most of in this category. Just anecdotally, little kids meeting star Yankee shortstop Derek Jeter and then eventually playing against Derek Jeter
Mhm.
like 10 years later at the end of Jeter's career and at the beginning of theirs. I feel like we've seen like 50 examples of that because every kid around my age loved Derek Jeter. If they got the chance to meet Derek Jeter, they would obviously have to take a picture. I wonder what the most famous example of this is.
This would be fun to research.
It would be fun to research. It'd be very difficult to research. I don't have the capacity to do it. So what's this new superstar's name that I need to know about?
Lamine Yamal.
Lamine Yamal.
The youngest player, set numerous youngest player records at this tournament. He was 16 up until, I believe, just a couple days ago. I think turned 17 the day before the championship.
Wow. By the way, we did get a text about the sandwich from Jesse. The name of that type of sub is called a Gatsby. It has a Wikipedia page and everything.
Yep, I did that. Yeah, I did neglect to include that part. But
hold on. Now I got to go to the Wikipedia page. Gatsby sandwich. South African sub consisting of a bread roll filled with French fries, a choice of fillings and sauces that originates in Cape Town, is popular throughout the Western Cape province. The sandwich is typically large and shared by several people. Oh, dude, I am so into this, actually.
the Gatsby.
Wait, so this is not really new. This is just a sandwich that they just created a 10-foot version of this. And that's
I guess it was a very heightened version of it.
Dude, that looks kind of good. I am into that. But most things look good to me at noon, and I haven't eaten lunch yet.
So, new sandwich discovery. We'll have to see if we can get one of those. All right. This one, producer Josh led me onto this one, so shout out to him.
Producer Josh
as he enjoys his time off, but is still giving me tremendous content
from the hotel pool. Josh, all right, what do we got?
Former WCW champion and actor David Arquette is on a mission to make people like clowns again. There are, quote, good clowns out there. I guess he thinks that in the last few years, clowns have gotten a bad rap from things like
definitely, and he's right.
Movie.
He's right. Yeah, the clowns have definitely gotten a bad rap. People are way more scared of clowns now than I would say that the peak of the popularity of the scary clown was what when it came out, probably.
Oh yeah,
when the new It came out.
Bill Skarsgård
But really, I lived most of my entire life thinking that clowns were cool and fun. Like I was never scared of clowns. I know people that have been scared of clowns, but obviously it hit people being scared of clowns hit its popularity probably a couple of years ago. I'm glad that David Arquette is doing this.
And he is way in this thing. Like, this is legit. He portrays Bozo the Clown. He says it's a lot of work. We're still figuring it out. I've made a lot of mistakes in the portrayal of Bozo, but we've gotten to a really good place.
The problem with David Arquette is that he has this kind of inherent creepiness to him a little bit. So I don't know if he's the right guy to be leading this mission, but
the Bozo mission.
I appreciate his efforts. I do feel like we've mislabeled clowns over the years. I mean, the Joker movie came out, right? We had Dark Knight where the Joker was horrifying. So this has been a long time coming now.
And he's very passionate about it. So
thank you, David Arquette.
I wish you well, David Arquette, on your mission.
What is David Arquette still do anything? Does he?
It actually later in the story mentions that he has a new movie with Nick Jonas coming out soon.
Arquette will be appearing as Bozo in Nashville on July 21st for a citywide baby shower that serves families affected by gun violence. Wow. And The Good Half is a movie that he'll be in. Will be screened next week with an exclusive virtual conversation with Nick Jonas and the film's director, Robert Schwartzman. Wow. Okay. Very good.
Lots going on for him.
Nice job, David Arquette. All right. Quick timeout. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. We'll come back. We can get into that. We can get into that Dylan Raiola, Henrik Harburg thing if that's what you guys want to do. We could also talk about the home run derby tonight. Urgency is a topic that Sam McEwen wrote about. We can talk about that before we get to him. A year in Creighton athletics. Still plenty to come on a Monday edition of the Joshless Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream is the best ice cream from planet Earth, and part of the reason why is because Ted and Wally's only uses premium flavorings, some of which is locally sourced.
Hi, I'm Ellen Walsh-Roseman from Farm Table Procurement and Delivery out of Harlan, Iowa. We help local growers get their products to the customers by providing transportation and marketing services. We have a lot of seasonal produce, fresh herbs and strawberries and rhubarb available. We also work with dairy producers, so we have milk, butter, buttermilk. They value high quality ingredients, and that's why we have such a good relationship, because we also value high quality.
There you have it. Just one of the reasons Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream is so good. And after more than 35 years, it just keeps getting better. Get some today in Benson, the Old Market, and at tedandwallys.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR Roofing offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR Roofing. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrhailcheck.com. And remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrhailcheck.com.
Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. At Hims, we know it's always better to be ready. And the best way to be ready anytime is to go to hims.com today. Because when you go to hims.com/radio, you'll find doctor-trusted ED treatments for less, with the same active ingredient as Cialis. Available in daily pills or chews, Hims gives you that boost of confidence, knowing you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. To connect with a licensed medical provider, just go to hims.com. No in-person appointments or awkward conversations required. If prescription medication is right for you, it'll be shipped to your door for free. Starting at less than $2 a day, you can get an ED treatment prescribed 100% online, all for a fraction of the price of name brands. Get your confidence back with Hims. Get started with a free 100% online consultation today at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game. So I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Nebraska at highschoolofficials.com.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, back on a Monday, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. 2 poll questions for you to vote on at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. First one, would you mess with a calamari sandwich? And second one just went up at Happer Show. Have clowns gotten a bad rap? Please vote. We need your votes.
These are relevant.
Yes, we need them. We need them badly. Happy video game opening day for those of you who celebrate. And I know that you're listening to the show just as a vehicle to get yourself to 3 o'clock. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. So as we mentioned earlier, Schaefer, Bruntz, BC, the crew over there at Husker 24/7 went through their most indispensable Huskers list, and they're still going through it at the moment. As BC kind of teased out for us on Friday, Dylan Raiola comes in at number 8 on the list, not number 1. And you're saying, how is this possible? I think we know what we're getting with this team, except for the quarterback. So how is Dylan Raiola not number 1? And they make the case. I'll read it to you from 247. So people had thoughts on this, and I want to get to those here in just a couple minutes. The true freshman. This is written by BC. The true freshman quarterback doesn't necessarily have to light the sky with fireworks on this team that hopes to have a top 10 defense and a sound running game to assist a growing quarterback. The Huskers could still produce a good season this year, even if the quarterback play misses some notes, just as long as it's not middling or below as it was too often in 2023, and as long as the turnovers don't cover all of aisle 6 like last year. Nebraska's pass offense doesn't have to jump into the top 20. You sure would like to see it move, though, from that area around 120, more toward the middle of the FBS, at least. That has been my opinion this entire time. We have talked about it all summer long. What makes me the most excited for this year for Nebraska at quarterback is not Dylan Raiola's extremely high ceiling, a higher ceiling than we've seen basically anybody else ever have as taking the ball as a Husker quarterback before. It's comparable to some of the tops of all time. But what makes me more excited is the competency that he showed during the spring game, the ability to take Nebraska's offense from the depths, from the pits of hell as it was in last year, which was basically when it was relegated to either surprising people by running the option sometimes or throwing a 50-yard bomb to Jalen Lloyd, which they did a few times last year, to success, also to failure occasionally as well. So what gets me excited about Nebraska's offense this year is having a guy back there who's not going to fumble the snap as much as it happened last year, who's not going to throw as many interceptions as they were last year, should improve on Nebraska's turnover margin, which obviously needs to get a whole lot better. You pair that along with a very good defense, and you pair that along with some improved wide receivers, some improvement along the offensive line, and bang, all of a sudden, Dylan Raiola is not indispensable. And so that was the issue, I think, that Theo had before. He said, stop the Harburg is an acceptable QB2 narrative on the YouTube page. I'll put it up right now if you're watching along with us on zonetv.live or on YouTube. Stop the Harburg is an acceptable QB2 narrative.
We know Theo's stance.
I actually, I don't know. You can't forget what you saw last year. I'll remind you that he wasn't that bad. Out of the 3 quarterbacks that Nebraska utilized last year, he was either he was either the second best or the best out of them. He obviously wasn't the worst, and that was Jeff Sims. And that's not a great, that's not a great precedent, I guess, or line to have in this conversation. But he threw 7 interceptions. I'll go back to my drive chart from last year. He threw 7 interceptions, which was the most out of the 3 quarterbacks, but he did it over the largest period of time playing. In fact, when you do it by drives, he played 84 drives last year, he being Heinrich Harburg. He's credited on my list anyway, with 84 drives last year. And then the other 2 combined, Sims and Purdy, which are the other 2 quarterbacks that took snaps for Nebraska last year, I'm crediting with 51 combined. So, I mean, his drives far outweigh anybody else's. He was responsible for 20 touchdown drives last year. that was the highest. Now we're talking percentages. So using Hartberg's 84 compared to Sims's 26 drives and Purdy's 25 drives, Hartberg led the most, obviously the most touchdowns, but the greatest touchdown percentage. He led, funny enough, he led to the second most drives that ended, or the second greatest percentage of drives that ended in a punt out of the three quarterbacks last year, only trailing Jeff Sims. You want that number to be lower, right? Only trailing Jeff Sims. That's because of 46% of Jeff Sims' drives ended in turnovers last year. And Harburg's drives, even though he had a far greater sample size than both Sims and Purdy, led to the fewest amount of turnovers last year. Not in grand total, but in percentage, coming in just underneath Chuba. The numbers are still too high. There's no doubt about it. But could you make the case that with improved wide receiver play, with general improvement, with bringing everybody back and adding whatever you did, hopefully a little bit more depth on the offensive line, could you make the case that the apparatus around whichever quarterback is going to be there is better? Of course you could. I have been all offseason long. So based on that, could you make the case that if you reinserted Heinrich Haarberg back into the equation this year, hopefully for not an extended long period of time, but for a period of time, maybe a game, maybe two, maybe a quarter, maybe a half, whatever it might be, if Dylan Raiola is hurt or can't play for whatever reason, I guess that would be the only reason. I guess I don't anticipate Dylan getting suspended at any point during this year or something like that. But if he is unable to play for a period of time and you reinsert Heinrich Haarberg back into the equation with the aforementioned things and another year of quarterback development for him, in which most people agreed that he looked better in the spring game than he did as a quarterback at any point last year. And he's running a real life offense and not just a patchwork. We kind of have to run the options sometimes with you, although the athleticism still lives there. I think that's your case right there. And so to answer, or to respond, I guess, to Theo's take of like, hey, we got to stop with this narrative that he's an acceptable quarterback. I disagree. Like I think Nebraska could live with that for short periods of time. First of all, how often, does the strength of your backup quarterback become a talking point on your team? Not very much. It has been the case around here for a long time, but we all agree that Nebraska's backup quarterback was probably better than their starting quarterback last year, maybe once or twice, two different times. So, yeah, like I am willing to live with what they have. And then you have the added protection of Gramstad, and you also have the added protection of the redshirt year of Daniel Kalin. And so is that a much better situation for a quarterback to walk into this year, and B, a quarterback room in general? Yes and yes, both of them. So to the point of Raiola not being as quote unquote important or indispensable as some might have expected them to be, or him to be, or him to show up on this list, I agree with that point as well, for the case that we've been making the entire, offseason long. Charles writes in on YouTube. He says we would have won 2 more games if we had the ability to complete a forward pass. Yeah. Now, once again, we're talking about the difference between 2023 and 2024, and I think the differences are vast, obviously because of the quarterback play. But we talked about this narrative that I thought was developing early in the summer and will definitely develop this fall, which is, well, Nebraska's going, let's say, Peter, Nebraska starts off 5-0 or 4-0 or 7-0 even. What will the narrative about Nebraska be? It will be, look what happened when they inserted Dylan Raiola. Look what happened. And he will deserve credit if Nebraska starts off 7-0. But it will not exclusively be because of him. It will be because of I think, improved quarterback play generally. He is the only person who could show that because he is the only person who is playing. But B, I think a big part of it will be the apparatus around him. Nebraska addressed needs in the wide receiver room. They went out and got a couple transfers that are both going to be players for them. They got a year older from younger guys that ended up playing and contributing in significant spots last year. They got a year older and more experience on the offensive line. They certainly, that position was already obviously developing as the year went along last year.
Defense will likely put them in good positions like they did last year.
Absolutely. But if you're looking for answers on, okay, what happened to have such a stark change, if that's the narrative on Nebraska, what happened to make such a stark change from 2023 to 2024? People will obviously point to the freshman 5-star quarterback who's going to have pretty good stats.
Yeah.
But it won't be just because of that. It won't be just because of that. Like that's a thing for the national media when Nebraska is ranked in the top 15 and they're 7-0. By the way, get ready for that conversation. If that indeed happens. If Nebraska is ranked in the top 15 and they're 7-0, people are going to be like, well, they're doing it behind the back of Dylan Raiola, and they will be. But it will be also emblematic of what has progressed in a year outside of that position. Star Wars Fiend writes in, wait, Jeff Sims wasn't the worst? Did I hear this right? Well, you to answer your question, I guess no, you didn't hear that right, but you did hear it in one specific category. So once again, I will repeat this. So in the very specific category of percentage of these quarterbacks, 2023 quarterbacks for Nebraska's drives that ended in punts, right? You want that number to be as low as you possibly can, right? Because the alternative is scoring touchdowns or kicking field goals, getting points. But there's also another alternative that is baked into there, as you'll learn about with Mr. Sims. Jeff Sims had the lowest punt percent. So not only was Jeff Sims not the worst in that category, he was the best. Unfortunately, he turned it over. He turned it over at 3 times the rate of either of the other quarterbacks. So yeah.
You give and you take.
Yeah, didn't exactly work out for him. But indeed. Let's get to a couple things here. I got a few emails that I can parse through. Some of them are about clowns. But here's one about Harburg from John. I myself cannot make the case that Harburg would be successful if he had to play quarterback this year. Just because he sucked the least of the 3 quarterbacks last year doesn't mean he is a capable quarterback. Okay, that's fair. I'll take you on that one. That's totally fine. If somebody is making the case to you, here's why Heinrich Harburg was good. Here's why Heinrich Harburg will be good this year, because he was the best out of the 3 last year. I just think, like, if you're taking that case to trial, that's not the case you want to be making. The case you want to be making is that the apparatus around Heinrich Harburg this year will make him a better quarterback, a better looking quarterback going into this year. Now, if you don't believe that, then I think we just disagree. If you don't believe that part of it, then I think we just disagree. But I think that's the case that I indeed would make. Jay Todd writes in, you can't punt when you turn the ball over. Yep, you nailed it. That was the secret that was buried into those stats. And Jeff writes in, let us never forget how awful Sims was. My God. Well, I think people are definitely not forgetting right now, but it will be a distant memory at some point. Hopefully it's this year. Hopefully it's, in October of this year. Hopefully those turnover issues just go away or at least dissipate to the point where Jeff Sims is a long distant memory. But yeah, let us never forget, because we really must remember. Joel writes in on Twitter. The guy wins 5 games under center, but he's the lost cause. He catches 1 pass for 10 yards, and he's a sure-handed tight end. In some people's eyes, QB2 doesn't have to be a Heisman contender. Well said. Well said. That is the other narrative with Heinrich Harburg. People want him to do other things. People want him to do it. They want him to play tight end. Look at what he did in that Minnesota game. He caught one pass. He was amazing. I think there is something to be said about his athleticism and how Nebraska can use it to their advantage and how he could be a bit of a curveball quarterback compared to the skill sets of the other guys that you have in the roster. But it's the point is well taken. That's for sure. And especially the last one. What do you guys want out of QB2? Like nobody else is talking about this, your second quarterback does not have to be great. The fact that Nebraska has what we believe, like if you can answer yes to the question of, do you believe that Nebraska has 3 quarterbacks that when they put them in the game, everything doesn't explode? My answer to that question is yes. I think they have probably 4 of them. You could put those guys into the game and everything won't blow up. It's more of a conversation. It's more of a it's more of a talking point based on how quarterback centric Nebraska has been in the last basically decade. And now they're moving away from that, right? You put Taylor Martinez into the game. Okay, good. You take Taylor Martinez out of the game. What happens? Nebraska explodes. You put Tommy Armstrong in the game. Okay, it's good. Tommy Armstrong gets hurt, and you have to put Riker Fife in, or you have to put Zach Darlington in. Poof, everything blows up, right? And it's the same thing. Nebraska's been so quarterback centric, and the idea is for Nebraska to be so much better in other places that if you have to take Dylan Raiola out of the game and put another quarterback in, that quarterback could be put in position for more success. It's more of a commentary. That's the word I was looking for on how Nebraska has been so painfully quarterback centric over the last several years. All right. I want to get your guys' responses on that. We could take them. We have plenty more to get into here on a Monday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on the crossover.
It's a very baseball-y name. It's like naming your kid Mickey.
Yeah,
Freddie.
Your name Mickey Mantle, like you're destined to be a great baseball player.
What was his full name? Michelob?
Michelob Mantle.
What was Mickey Mantle's real name?
His name was Mickey Charles Mantle.
I think it was
Michelob.
Michelob Mantle.
Michelob Mantle.
Wow. Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, hazy, hot, and humid today with the high today in Omaha of 95, feeling like 106. An excessive heat warning remains in effect until 8 o'clock here this evening. The slight chance for showers and storms, especially into western and central Iowa, with a threat of severe, damaging wind in excess of 60 miles an hour possible. Partly cloudy tonight, warm with a low of 69. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Host Coffee stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Join the Salvation Army Croc Center and the Bellevue Chick-fil-A for Christmas in July. Come on out to the Chick-fil-A at Highway 75 and Cornhusker Road on Saturday, July 20th. Group special events 11 to 1 and again from 4 to 7, including a visit from Santa and friends. 10% of all store sales that day will be donated back to the Croc Center. It's fun for the whole family at Christmas in July, Saturday, July 20th at the Bellevue Chick-fil-A. We'll see you there.
I'm Brad Heller with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Sad news yesterday as former NFL wide receiver Jacoby Jones passed away at the age of 40. Jones played 9 seasons in the NFL, most notably with the Texans and Ravens. The best year of his career was in 2012 with Baltimore, where he earned a first-team All-Pro selection. In the Ravens' Super Bowl 47 victory that year, Jones became the first player to score both a receiving and return touchdown in Super Bowl history. Jones retired in 2017. Meanwhile, Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins will not have a long-term deal in place by today's deadline, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Higgins will play on the franchise tag this season, which he officially signed on June 17th. Higgins was a second-round pick in 2020, and he's entering his 5th season with Cincinnati. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Tell us how you feel on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Reach Gary, Nick, Connor, Josh, and John anytime on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction at yourexteriorexperts.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks. Which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, Connor, Happer, Peter Trenzer with you here on a Monday. Speaking of the Peter man, Pedro writes in on the text line. He says, "Hi, guys. Connor, congratulations. Peter, can you tell us what Connor is going to name his kid and what is the sex of the child? Thanks, Peter, for letting us know what is happening in Connor's life." Any thoughts?
I'm not saying anything else. I'm going to bite my tongue. I've ruined enough already.
The tradition continues of, and by the way, I was, like I said earlier, I was hoping that it would happen that way, like pretty much exactly that way. But I was hoping that it would be somebody, you know, one of our regular hosts or Josh, somebody would spill the beans before I did it, just so I could like hold it over their head. I don't want to hold it over your head because you seem to genuinely feel bad about this. And you have to understand, Peter, I do not care. I was baiting people into it for months and months and months.
And all it took was one day.
All it took was you looking at Facebook and saying, it was on Facebook. It was out there. I saw it. I could have sworn.
It's on Facebook. I thought it was official.
You didn't say it on the air yet. Didn't say it to the listeners. But yes. So on that, I will.
My big stupid mouth.
I will be taking some time off at some point over the next few weeks, so we'll keep you updated on that one. But we got a couple weeks left, and then to make it even more confusing, by the way, I started getting some texts from some people. It was like, "Hey, congratulations!" And I was like, "Well, I just want you guys to know, like the baby's not here yet. We haven't had the child yet, so there's." You still owe me a congratulations. And
please postpone your
yes, in a few weeks. whenever this might happen. SEC Media Days going on. Right, Peter, I thought I changed the channel. What happened? Did we go back?
We're back to Australia.
So this SEC Media Days going on
here we go.
right now. And look, they're talking about South Carolina's projected win total of 6. This is scintillating stuff.
Season opener, Old Dominion.
This is the 4-day SEC Media Days. At the beginning of the SEC Media Day this morning, which is in Dallas, I believe, Nick Saban, who's used to going to this event on a private plane, and well, I'm sure he still went on a private plane, but you know, as a member of the school traveling party, and now he's a member of the media, he was used to going to this event uncredentialed and just, hey, I'm Nick Saban. And you would have thought that that would have worked today, as he is still Nick Saban, but he's now a member of the media, and he did not bring his credential with him. So he was stopped at the door today, and at which point he probably said, well, I am Nick Saban. Are you really going to stop me from going into this event? And then they, of course, let him in. So that was how SEC
Nick,
Media
if we
Days.
let you in, then we got to let everyone in.
You can't just be a guy walking off the street. It's like, I'm not. I've been here a lot. Here's my question about the SEC, and maybe we could dive into one or two of these as we go on throughout the week as they kind of take over. They planned it out right, by the way. So they have this entire event going on over. I mean, I made fun of it just then because it's 4 days long. It's Monday through Thursday. It's the most dead 4 sports days of the year. Like, we're looking for the next thing to move on to. Baseball is off, and not that baseball takes up a huge portion of our brain anyway. But the soccer, the international soccer tournaments are over now. Like, if you're a hoops guy, okay, you're into summer league. That is still going on. But as far as professional sports are concerned, like real life, regular season professional sports, nothing. We got nothing for the next 4 days. And SEC Media Days happen to fit exactly into those 4 days. Maybe it's not so much of a coincidence, but I do have a question about SEC Media Days, and I don't know when. I don't know what the schedule of events looks like down there.
I've got a little breakdown here.
Who goes today?
So it's going to be 4 teams for, each day for the next 4 days, and we've already had LSU and Carolina, and then the rest of today will be Ole Miss and Vandy.
Ole Miss and Vandy.
So Kiffin and Ole Miss will be up at 1:50.
Do Oklahoma and Texas go on the same day?
They do not. Oklahoma will be tomorrow. Texas will be Wednesday.
What's the group in? Because I want to say something about Oklahoma. What's the group with Oklahoma?
It's going to be Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Missouri tomorrow.
Interesting. Wow. So that's actually a great example of this. You just said it. Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma. Obviously, there is attention that is paid to Oklahoma because they're the new team in the conference. If I was Oklahoma, man, I would be really concerned about getting lost in the shuffle here. This is a big time and a big moment for a first impression for Oklahoma this year. Like Texas is a little bit different because they're always loud, and because they're loud, they're relevant. And not that Oklahoma has been quiet, right? But Texas will always maintain its ability to stay relevant because it is Texas. Oklahoma, separated from its Big 12 brethren, do they maintain that? Or do they simply get lost in the mix with everybody else? Texas is one of the bluest of the blue bloods of the sport. I think Oklahoma probably is as well, right? But we're talking about major, major brands. Texas goes in there. They go in there with Georgia, like they look at them eye to eye, right? They are the same height. Notre Dame, just looking at programs all around the country. Ohio State, USC, pick whatever. Texas sees eye to eye with everybody around the country. I'm not certain that Oklahoma does. There's a gap down there, and so I think, and not to say that Oklahoma's a bad program or anything. They're most certainly not. But they don't join the SEC necessarily at the top of their game. There's questions about what they're going to look like going forward. I know I think they won 10 games last year. It was a really competitive team and a big bounce back year for Venables, but he got the extension, and this is a big year. So where might Oklahoma fit in a conference that is chock full of blue bloods, powers of the sport, but is also chock full of second-tier programs, third-tier programs? Like, what is Oklahoma now compared to what they have been? Obviously, they are no longer the big dog of the Big 12. I feel like and you look at the Big 12 now, that's one of the things you notice. It is blue bloodless. It makes it a fun conference. It makes it an interesting conference. It makes it a wide open conference. Like, what happens to Kansas State what does Kansas State look like in 10 years if they won the Big 12 6 times or 7 times? That's interesting. That's an interesting question to me. But right now, it looks like a bunch of teams that all kind of look the same, schools that all look the same, and they approach things the same way. Oklahoma leaves that to obviously take the money of the SEC. You don't blame them for doing it. But where did they end up in this is an interesting question to me. And I think it's really well exemplified by what they get surrounded by on their first day of SEC Media Days, which is by Georgia, the preeminent national brand in the country, I guess them and Ohio State. Tennessee, who's loud and certainly in that same realm. And what was the other one that you mentioned in that category? Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma,
Missouri,
and Mizzou, who is this kind of up and coming, people think they can contend for the playoff this year type of team. I don't really see many people picking Oklahoma to go to the playoff. I don't really see people picking Oklahoma to be anything more than just competitive in the SEC. And so they lose that kind of status a little bit. And their first couple of years in the league are vitally important to figuring out who are you going to be, because you have to build traditions and you have to build rivalries. Obviously, it's not just Texas, but with everybody else. So your first impression is really important. We all think Texas is ready to make a really nice first impression in the SEC. I'm not sure of that many people who think that Oklahoma is ready to make a nice first impression in the SEC.
And they do play 2 of these teams that they're going to be going with tomorrow. They will play Tennessee and Missouri in this first SEC season. They avoided Georgia.
So
for now.
Okay, let me look at their just real quick. Let me look at their schedule real quick. So non-con Temple, Houston, Tulane.
And the Houston threw me off. I was like, are we back in the Big 12 here?
And also Maine in November. Their first annual crap bye game in November will be against Maine this year. In conference, Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Mizzou, Alabama, LSU. So that gives you a pretty good idea there. They obviously think they're going to be in one of the top kind of 2 tiers of the conference, because look at how that schedule is backloaded. Missouri, Alabama, and LSU. Interesting. I'll be curious to see where they end up and what the talking point is around Oklahoma this year. Because like I said, first impressions are pretty important. Your thoughts on that? We'll take them. 951-1620. You can call or text that number, leave a comment anywhere you'd like to, including on the Equitable Bank inbox. Connor at 1620thezone.com. We'll be back. Sam McKeon will join us a little after 1 o'clock today, so we get some time to spread out, talk about the Derby tonight, some other things that are going on. We have a graphic of the day that we still got to get to. I've seen a college football playoff projection that's out there. We're getting into that time of the year. Still plenty to come on a Monday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
It's simple, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
No, it's not a new dance trend.
It's the free application for federal student aid.
That's money for college. Thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing.
Just 10 minutes is all it takes to apply for the financial aid you need.
With fewer questions and faster fill-out time, it's simple to see how much you're qualified for.
Go ahead, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
Get started at dothefafsa.org.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Savit for Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. Now that we got through the spring and we're in the summer, what's better for summer than ice cream? I always say, get yourself a bucket load. Now, I know they don't sell it by the bucket at Ted and Wally's, but they do sell it by the pint. They do sell it by the half gallon. All you got to do is call ahead to get yours reserved today. And so many flavors. Go on social media, whether it's Facebook or on Twitter, and they have a list of the day's ice creams for both locations. That's in the Old Market, of course, and in Benson. Swing by there, get yourself some great ice cream this summer, and tell them Severe sent you.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in at 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers baseball on 1290 Coil.
Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. At Hims, we know it's always better to be ready. And the best way to be ready anytime is to go to hims.com today. Because when you go to hims.com/radio, you'll find doctor-trusted ED treatments for less, with the same active ingredient as Cialis. Available in daily pills or chews, Hims gives you that boost of confidence, knowing you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. To connect with a licensed medical provider, just go to hims.com. No in-person appointments or awkward conversations required. If prescription medication is right for you, it'll be shipped to your door for free. Starting at less than $2 a day, you can get an ED treatment prescribed 100% online, all for a fraction of the price of name brands. Get your confidence back with Hims. Get started with a free 100% online consultation today at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR Roofing offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR Roofing. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play roofer roulette with your home. Visit jrhailcheck.com. And remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrhailcheck.com.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
If you're a licensed real estate agent in Nebraska or Iowa looking to take your career to the next level, Modern Real Estate is seeking outgoing, high-energy individuals to join the team. Whether you prefer a salary-based, commission-based, or hybrid compensation structure, they have options to fit your needs. With leads provided, you can focus on what you do best, closing deals and achieving success. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to work with a dynamic and innovative company. Email your real estate experience to tyler@modernrealestateco.com and start building your future with Modern Real Estate today.
The increasingly confusing home run derby takes place tonight.
What are the rules?
What are the rules? How much time do you have? Nobody really quite understands it. But it will happen tonight, live on your television in Arlington, the former home of one Bobby Witt Jr., who will be participating in the Derby in his hometown. He'll, according to what I could find, he's the third Royal ever to be in the Home Run Derby behind Bo Jackson, who did the Derby in '89 and then won the All-Star Game MVP for the several amazing things he did in that game. And then Salvador Perez in 2021, who, as Peter and I were recounting during the break, the memorable part of that was that somebody else was hitting, or somebody else was being interviewed. We believe it was Pete Alonso.
Looking at the bracket, it was Salvador was the 4 seed and Alonso was the 5 seed, so they were matched up together.
And Pete won because Pete is like the home run derby. He just wins all the home run derbies. He's really good at home run derbies, and so they were interviewing him after his nice round while Salvi was hitting. And I just remember the small community of Royals fans on Twitter were freaking. It's like, what's going on? Like, show Salvador. They're like, oh, I guess Salvi's doing pretty good over here. And he ended up putting up one of the better rounds of the competition.
30. Alonso ended up with 35 in the first round, but Salvi had 28. And
so he got eliminated, right? He
was eliminated there because it was just him and Pete head to head. And that was better than, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 other scores, and he matched Shohei's total in the first round.
Have some respect. Maybe they'll have some respect tonight for Bobby Witt Jr. It's a younger home run derby. Gunnar Henderson is there. Bobby Witt Jr. is there. Alec Boehm. So I was looking at the odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Pete Alonso, who, like we said, seems to be the only person who takes this seriously, and now has a reputation to uphold, is plus 300. Gunnar Henderson plus 380. Bobby Witt Jr. plus 430, the third best odds, according to this live here on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And local Omaha Roncalli proud product, Alec Boehm. Nobody thinks Alec Boehm's going to win this thing. Why don't you throw a couple bones on Alec Boehm plus 2,200? Why? Like, there's no reason that anybody can't win this, right? It's batting practice.
It is.
It's simply batting practice. The amount of home runs that you've hit in the regular season does nothing to tell you about who's going to win the home run derby.
And that is one reason
they could put Garrett Hampson in this, and he would have just as good of a chance as anybody else.
Now, if we had a base running activity in All-Star Week,
he would be horrible at that.
It would be a rough go.
He would get thrown out at third. Sad. Alec Boehm has the worst odds to win the home run derby at plus 2,200. There has been a myth around this event for really as long as I can remember. And I'm not sure where it originated. I'm not sure where it originally came from. But the myth, the theory has been, when you participate in the home run derby, you could, very well win it, have a great half prior to it, and then tail off in the second half because the derby and the pressure that it puts on your body and the different mechanics that you have to use while swinging all those times in the home run derby will throw you off, and then it will lead you to have a horrible second half of the season. This idea was addressed by The Athletic, by Peter Keating and Jordan Brenner. And basically the conclusion that they came to, while it might not be like completely proven false, it definitely wasn't proven true either. The answer that they came up with was basically, well, it's the second half of the season and you're going to tail off in the second half of the season if you've had a good, it's basically the law of averages coming back to bite you. They write, so the home run derby curse is really just a specific form of regression to the mean. Regression to the mean is a universal undertow in sports and in life. It explains why it's harder to hit 90% of your free throws for a month than for a week, and why you lose more on blackjack the longer you play. It also explains what happened to Bobby Abreu and David Wright, whose post-home run derby experiences really kicked off all this curse talk. Abreu won the 2005 home run derby with a then record 41 home runs, but hit only 6 real home runs in the second half of the season. David Wright sank from 20 home runs before the break to just 6 afterwards, triggering years of tabloid stories and talk radio calls about whether he had somehow ruined his swing because of the home run derby. Abreu's home run ratio, her home run to, I guess it's fastball, home run per fastball ratio, regressed from 22.8% in the first half of 2005 to 11.1% in the second. So it went down by about half. Wright's drop David Wright's dropped from 15.6% to a very unlucky 7.3% in 2006, and then popped back up to 16.1% the next season. In our research dating back to 2016, second half drops in home runs didn't come because the sluggers were hitting fewer fly balls. According to the research, their average fly ball rate was unchanged, exactly 40.2% before and after the break. But fewer of those balls left the yard. 70% of the contestants saw their home run to fly ball rates decline. If you get invited to the home run derby because an unusually high number of your balls went over the wall in May and June, you can expect more of them to stay in play and for your weekly homer totals to stop or drop in August and September. So there you go. The theory, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't, go like those weirdos on Mythbusters and be like myth completely, but I would say it's baseball. It's a long season. It's kind of just a matter of regression to the mean and luck. Everything in baseball can be kind of explained mathematically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the story with this situation as well.
Did do a little digging. Bobby will be the fifth Royal.
The fifth? Oh, thank you.
So Bo was the first, 89, and then in 91, this was when they were still doing like the team format, and it was less individual. It was like AL, NL.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Danny Tartable in 91.
Nice.
He was the second. And then Moose in 2017. I totally forgot
God, I
about
remember that. That was weird.
He was the third, and then Sal and Junior.
He was, if I remember right, he was eliminated relatively quickly as well.
Yes,
I don't
he
know
was.
I remember that was, they were horrible. They were horrible.
It says Moustakas didn't make it out of the first round despite hitting 10 home runs, falling to Twins bruiser Miguel Sano. That was one of the most fun things I've ever done, he said.
Oh, in 2017, they weren't that bad. Still, so obviously they won the World Series in 15. They went exactly 516, but with most of those key pieces, and then they kind of just gradually began to lose pieces. But they still went 80 and 82 in 2017 somehow. And Mike Moustakas represented the Royals in the home run derby that year. Wow, he had a good year too.
And here's something I completely forgot about that is hilarious. When the Royals hosted in 2012 at the K,
and they booed Robinson Cano.
Yeah, we can't forget about the Billy Butler incident. American League captain.
Well, he famously didn't participate in the home run derby.
Yep. They talked about how Robinson Cano indicated he would include a Royals player on the AL Derby roster if a KC position player was selected for the All-Star game. First part happened when Billy Butler got the nod, but Cano did not include him in the AL lineup for the Derby, going instead with Mark Trumbo,
and they
Jose
booed,
Bautista, and Prince Fielder.
And anytime Robinson Cano showed up to Kauffman Stadium for the rest of his career,
they booed
the living hell out of him. By the way,
every time.
Do you know what? Just not to get too far off subject, although it is Monday in July and I don't really care. Do you know what Robinson Cano is doing currently?
No idea. I have no idea. After he got, what was his last stint? Was it with the Mariners?
So this is not going to be I don't know what you were expecting, but this is not going to be what you expected. Robinson Cano is currently playing baseball at age 41 in the Mexican League. And he is by far their best player in the entire league. He's in the same league that Trevor Bauer is in. And people online keep saying that Trevor Bauer should be back in the major leagues because he's like strikes some guys out on TikTok in the Mexican League and people love him.
A league in which Robinson Cano
is not only by far the best player, he is hitting 450. And it's not a small sample size. He has had 300 plate appearances, 271 at bats. He's hitting 450 with an OPS of 1185 in the Mexican League. He is crushing everyone at age 41 in the Mexican League, the same league that everybody thinks Trevor Bauer is, he's doing pretty well in the Mexican League, and everybody thinks that he should be back in the major leagues because he's doing okay. That's the league where Robinson Cano at age 41 is hitting 450 at the moment.
I'd love to know if he's pitched to him yet in that league.
I'm not sure. I bet they've crossed paths at some point.
What a fun matchup.
I didn't expect to get a Robinson Cano update today
How about
on the show,
that?
but that is what he's doing. All right, back after this, Sam McEwen will join in just a little bit. We got a little time before that. We'll be back with that on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Lindley Clothing's annual sidewalk sale starts this Thursday, and it's so hot you'll need to get there right away. All spring and summer sportswear, 50 to 70% off original price. David Donahue dress shirts, 20 to 50% off. It's located 132nd and Dodge in the Linden Market, and I know you're going to love what you'll find at Lindley Clothing, which has been dressing Omaha for nearly 90 years. Top-notch staff, so stop in today. See John, Marlene, and the rest for the super hot spring and summer sale. And this Saturday, John will even be serving up hot off the grill hot dogs and cool refreshments.
They've only given me 30 seconds to talk about all the great things at Funplex, so here goes. Looking for an unforgettable all-in-one day of summer fun? Funplex has you covered. Nebraska's largest water park and rides is even better with the heart-pumping brand new spinning and tilting wipeout ride and special events for the whole family. We're your one-stop destination for non-stop excitement. Plus, there's private cabanas and plenty of spaces to unwind. Hey, you can even make a day of it. From thrilling rides and slides to relaxing sun and fun, there's something for everyone. There's just too much fun to talk about. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
At Host Coffee, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
It's July 15th. Sports have slowed down to a halt here. By the way, before we get to that, what I was setting up for, there is another poll question available for you to vote on at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Did you know that 41-year-old Robinson Cano is currently hitting .450 in the Mexican League? Yes or no? Now available at Happer Show. But like I was saying, it's July, and the sports aren't quite happening unless you're interested in every detail of the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby coming up over the next 2 days. So one of the things we like to talk about in the college football world is NIL. Sportico is here for us. They detailed a few of the goings on in that interesting deal that was announced last week between the handshake meme between Nebraska and the 1890 initiative. Nebraska is kind of, this is the first of its kind, the first deal of its kind to actually team up with the university. And I think the special part about it, we've seen schools name collectives, the official collectives, to avoid confusion. But what's different in this one is how not only it's their official NIL collective and the one that is, the one that is closely tied to the school and the one that you should donate to, but specifically, you can get donor points basically applied to your Nebraska accounts by donating to the 1890 initiative, something that was really, really well thought out, it appears. So I'll read you a couple of pieces from the Sportico story that came out today. It said, behind the buzz phrases was a data sharing agreement executed on June 26 between the collective, which includes both a for-profit LLC and a nonprofit in the Big Ten institution. The agreement stipulates that the school will now apply its priority point system to 1890 Nebraska backers, thus enabling the collective's donors to gain improved access to Nebraska home and away tickets and postseason events. How that exactly will be conveyed is unclear in the document, which only speaks to it in broad terms. In far greater detail, the agreement designates the ways in which the collective and the university will share and maintain confidences about donor information. Not unlike other data sharing agreements, this one sets out lengthy clauses detailing use restrictions, confidentiality, and sharing method, and allows either party to terminate the deal after 30 days of a prior written notice. The agreement only refers to donor and makes neither allusions nor reference to athlete data. Neither representatives of the collective nor school responded to interview requests. Quote, now this is from a person who kind of is just familiar with NIL, but I don't think they're going to want to put on paper too much data sharing as far as the disclosure of athlete deals. I still don't think they're going to want the school to have full visibility into that, which is interesting. And I kind of thought that was something that just came along with it. One of the things that I had talked about really this entire time as it pertains to NIL and people's issues with it is its lack of transparency. Nobody has a clear understanding of what if we're doing this and we're all agreeing that we're in this world of pay for play, which we're there. Whether it's not official is a different conversation, but we're definitely there. Then wouldn't it make a lot of sense to have a market, a known market for all of these people, especially when they go into the transfer portal, right? So that way it's not up to the agents to kind of, do what agents do, which is drive up markets for individual players or people that are in the transfer portal or people that aren't even in the transfer portal or that are entertaining going to the transfer portal. Wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of transparency? This feels like something that we are not necessarily getting, even with the addition of this. And that I don't feel like we will probably even get when it all goes in-house. Jason Belzer, founder of collective conglomerate SANIL, adds that even with the NCAA rule changes, collectives and schools are still incentivized to keep their direct relationships limited. Quote, the further and deeper of a contractual relationship you have with a third-party entity, the closer you get to making the argument that the third party is working directly under the university. Most universities are still going to want to use third parties to try and circumvent things like Title IX. So that's where the gap is right now. Now, when this all goes in-house, and the rules will obviously change, things will be different. Also, it should be noted that this is another area where Nebraska was kind of pretty innovative here. They were kind of out in front on this one. Following the Nebraska in 1890 handshake meme news, LSU Tiger Athletic Foundation announced last week that it was creating a subsidiary, TAF Services Corporation, which would enter into a paid services agreement with the Bayou Traditions NIL Collective. That deal, according to a press release, would similarly allow for collectives donors to receive priority points, which are handled by the Athletic Foundation. So in this NIL community, there's been, if you're donating or whatever, there's been this conversation within the fan base of like, okay, how do we, as donors, find a way to have enough money to support our team, but also support the athletes as well? We want to support the university and help them invest in capital projects or whatever it might be and get season tickets and get kickbacks on that. But also we understand that it's an arms race and you have to have enough players as well. This is NIL's way to kind of even the field a little bit. And so Nebraska, a little out in front here. And we'll see if that has any advantages as we go on. We could ask questions like this to Sam McEwen. Also, he wrote today about urgency and how much of it there is or how much of it you will feel from Nebraska at its upcoming media days, appearances, and before the season starts. We'll have our weekly chat with Sam coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Why would you get on the radio and just assume that?
Are you a Husker fan or a Colorado fan?
I'm a Husker fan.
Okay.
There's a lot of fans out there like Brian who seem to be bothered by the expectation of winning that game.
Not bothered.
Dude, you've been on hold for like an hour.
We all just got Brian billed.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, hazy, hot, and humid today with the high today in Omaha of 95, feeling like 106. An excessive heat warning remains in effect until 8 o'clock here this evening. The slight chance for showers and storms, especially into western and central Iowa, with the threat of severe, damaging wind in excess of 60 miles an hour possible. Partly cloudy tonight, warm with a low of 69. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
We are excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen in this beautiful, historic location. And of course, we brought in tons of new inventory, amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices, motorcycles, tools, bikes, guitars. And as always, get a cash on the spot loan from $10,000 to $50,000. Everything you've come to expect from Saul's in our new location. 22nd and Harney, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
It's simple, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
No, it's not a new dance trend.
It's the free application for federal student aid.
That's money for college. Thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing.
Just 10 minutes is all it takes to apply for the financial aid you need.
With fewer questions and faster fill-out time, it's simple to see how much you're qualified for.
Go ahead, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
Get started at dothefafsa.org.
A day to remember. The least anticipated album tour. July 24th at the Astro Amphitheater. A day to remember with special guests. The Story So Far, 4 Years Strong, and Scowl. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. The wait is over. Don't miss A Day to Remember.
If you're a licensed real estate agent in Nebraska or Iowa looking to take your career to the next level, Modern Real Estate is seeking outgoing, high-energy individuals to join the team. Whether you prefer a salary-based, commission-based, or hybrid compensation structure, they have options to fit your needs. With leads provided, you can focus on what you do best, closing deals and achieving success. Don't miss out on this exciting opportunity to work with a dynamic and innovative company. Email your real estate experience to Tyler@modernrealestateco.com and start building your future with Modern Real Estate today.
Stop what you're doing and listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking, and those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind. Got water filtration? You should. A charged solar generator? You better. Emergency food on your shelf? Get it now from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for damn good reason, too. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now and save $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It delivers over 2,000 calories per day, plus sealed inside practically unpierceable packaging. It lasts up to 25 years. Oh, and did I mention it's delicious? Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $200 per kit. Includes fast and free shipping. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. With Ramp, you get full visibility into your company's spending and control who spends what with each vendor. Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts instantly to save your team valuable time. Ramp automates data entry and routine tasks with automated approvals, expense categorization and bill payments, time-consuming tasks. which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show on a Monday. It's 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Happy to be joined by Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. Sam, good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Hello, Jen. How are you doing?
Good.
How are we today, Jen?
It's
good.
Happy Dead Week. Happy Dead Week to you.
Yeah, it is that. That's okay. It's like 109 degrees out, so hopefully once the front comes through, it cools down. I mean, it's brutal. Air conditioning in the car is barely working. It's just rough.
Stay inside and play video games is my advice to everybody this week.
Are you doing that?
Yeah, I probably will. I'm definitely going to tonight. Yeah.
So you did the early online plan or whatever.
Yeah, well, it was only $30 more to get it 3 days early, and so I'm a huge sucker, and I did it.
Physical copy, or you do get a physical copy?
No, you don't. Like I don't think they even probably make those anymore. Like my Xbox, you just download all the games that you have, and that's what I have.
That's true. My concern about that is if the fungi apocalypse from Last of Us were to hit, and you didn't have a physical disc, it would make it hard to play.
It would just be all gone. Yeah.
Yeah, or Station 11 or whatever movie or book you prefer on that subject. Like, doesn't it ever bother you? Just like, because I just popped in something in the PS2 a couple nights ago, Fight Night 3. And doesn't it ever just make you pause a little bit that you don't have the physical game?
Yes, every day, and I don't have to take out the unload the thing and put it back in. I remember on the N64, I used to blow on the cartridge and it would make it work better for whatever reason. I do miss it. I miss physical copies of stuff for sure.
In the original Nintendo, you'd blow on it and then you would put it about 93% in, but you would try for whatever reason. When you put it into the cartridge in, you would try to hit it against the bottom.
Yeah, you'd smack it.
Yeah, as if that would wake it up. It's very strange. These were strange times that we used to live in. We live in
different
times now.
No doubt about it. Hey, quickly before we get to some Nebraska stuff, you wrote a little blurb today in your rewind about some conference realignment stuff in Oklahoma and Texas. I was thinking about Oklahoma earlier. I was just pondering Oklahoma's place earlier. And so their day at Media Day, I believe, is tomorrow, and they're going with Georgia, Tennessee, and I always forget the fourth one, Peter. Missouri. And I can't help but notice how much they're just in the shuffle or lost in the shuffle with everybody else in the SEC. Texas, not quite as much. And they had a really sweet deal at the top and being the king of the Big 12, or at least the co-king. How big of a first impression does Oklahoma have to make in the next couple of years in the SEC?
They have to make one for sure. One of the things that happened when Nebraska went to the Big Ten is it lost all of its psychological advantage over its opponents. Nebraska used to be able to walk on a field, and 2008, even when they weren't great, 2007, 2004, and they still probably had a 6-0 lead against Kansas.
Yeah.
Walking onto the field. That's just the way it was. But they never had that kind of lead against anybody in the Big Ten. Completely flipped on them right away. And Oklahoma's not going to go into Auburn and have Auburn worry about Oklahoma. They don't know them. So there's no relational history. They might look at the helmet and go, oh, this must be a good team, but it's not the same. And Texas will have the same situation. I mean, they've got Texas A&M and Arkansas, I guess, but they're going to have the same situation. There's just no psychological edge anymore, and so you're going to have to earn it, because those teams don't have any fear of OU. And so, it's a pretty sweet deal that OU had, and this is the first time since God only knows when they're not going to be the power team in their conference. Because even when Texas joined the Big 12, Oklahoma remained largely on top for many, many, many of the years. Texas went to one college football playoff. Oklahoma went to many more. They both won one national championship, but don't forget that Oklahoma basically played for 4 national titles in 2000, 2003, 2004, and 2008. Texas played for 1 national championship in 05.
But it still feels like Texas is stronger for some reason. I feel like Texas falls less of a victim to the move than Oklahoma does. Maybe it's just where they're at right now.
I think you're right. I think that the challenge that Oklahoma is going to have isn't really playing when people talk about, Alabama. Yeah, Alabama's a challenge, and Georgia's a challenge too. But it's Kentucky, and it's South Carolina, and it's Mississippi. These teams don't know who you are, and they don't care who you are. And the challenge of playing teams that aren't afraid of you, they may not be as good as you, but they're not afraid. So you don't walk onto that field with a 13-0 lead. That's where Oklahoma's going to have to figure it out. And over time, they should win early. Florida State is the textbook example of dominating the league. They dominated the ACC. I think they won 10 straight conference titles upon entry to the league. Oklahoma's not going to do that, but they've got to make an impression quickly.
Yeah. Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald is with us. So I really latched onto this in your rewind today, and talking season starts next week for Nebraska at Big Ten Media Days. How much urgency would you expect Matt Rule to kind of express, given it feels like in each time that he's spoken, it's kind of just gotten quietly maybe more and more confident. There's obviously this overhanging thing about the 5-star quarterback. He hasn't gone really over the ledge about him in terms of hyping Dylan Raiola up, but it feels like it's an important moment for Nebraska, putting some pieces together, and you're on the clock as far as the quarterback is concerned. You only have probably 3, at best 4 years with him. How much urgency would you expect him to convey next week?
That's a great question. One thing that I've observed about Rule is that when he's in a setting where none of the reporters are on the same page and we're all just asking one-off questions, he is really, really good at pivoting from one question to the next question to the next question to the next, and really staying on that, being able to explain everything really, really well. When you sit down with it, like when somebody sits down with him for 30 minutes, like Joe Platt or some other radio station, he gets pretty transparent. It takes him a while, but he'll say some things where you're like, oh man, yeah, this is there. Everybody wants to. And so late in his press conferences with us, that's when he starts to say stuff. 27 minutes in, Thomas Fedoni was offered a button. Like that's just how he is. So it kind of depends on if we as reporters do a good job of really sticking to the storylines, or if what we want to do is just hit one-off questions, which, to be honest, is what we often do.
Yeah,
we're just like, I have a story idea that I want to pursue, and it never really coalesces unless he decides to go there. But if you really start talking to him about urgency and things like that, he'll all of a sudden, we got to win. Like we don't have a lot of time, and he said somewhere on some interview, our turnover margin is going to go down. It wasn't a need to. He's like, and if it doesn't, I'll tell you, I may not have a job. Or something like that.
That was with Klatt.
For the exact. Yeah. Like he just kind of says it, like, and he's right. so I think there's a sense within that program. Okay, Coach Rule was set the culture, and he's a good dude, and we all know that. Now the the screw around time is done. They can't. The only position that's going to get that kind of grace to make some mistakes right away is Dylan. I mean, he deserves that. You can't just say to a freshman quarterback, play perfect. But most of the other positions better be ready to be really, really fundamental and really good.
Yeah, I must have asked you a question like this probably 50 times this offseason, but I mean the thought is that the apparatus around Dylan Raiola is in a place where you can't allow him to make mistakes. I was thinking about like what, and I'm thinking way ahead, but what the national narrative might be if Nebraska has a great start to its season. It's 6-0, it's 7-1 or 7-0 going to Ohio State. And I thought that they'll probably latch onto the idea that Dylan Raiola has taken them to this place. I wonder how much of that will be the truth, and
right.
If they get there, and how much of it will be work that they've already kind of put in based off of what they did last year because of what's around him.
I think some of it would be focused on him, and a lot would be on Rule. Rule's built a lot of good relationships in the media, and I think people would say this is what Matt Rule can do. And so I do think a lot of it would be on him. I do think they have an opportunity to get off to a great start. 7-0 is ambitious.
Yeah.
But if you told me they got off to a 7-0 or 6-1 start, I would believe it. And then, you go take your shot at Ohio State. What I would say is Nebraska's in better position now, I think, to play these games against
Indiana and Rutgers
kind of team.
Yeah.
I think they're in better position to win those games than they used to, even a couple years ago. And we'll just have to see. They play the kind of defense you need to play. Now their ball security has to be a little better, and they just have to get a little better. They don't have to be number 30 in the country and throwing the football. They can be number 60 or 70 and be the kind of offense they want to be.
How intrigued are you in the addition they made to the coaching staff over the weekend?
It's intriguing for sure. I'm sure he'll have a role in development of players. High school coaches can do that really well. And then, that's probably a door or relationships that can open in Kansas City. And I think I don't know how they do their recruiting, Connor, but you could in theory say, all right, let's circle the eight biggest recruiting hotbeds 500 miles from us. And Kansas City is one. St. Louis is another.
Yep.
Chicago, somewhere in Iowa. I don't know. And, you got to pick which ones you want to be good at, and you don't necessarily want to be good at all of them. But I think that's certainly an area where they feel like they can go get a player or two. And so I think his addition to the staff, being a former Kansas City area prep coach, will help the program immensely if they can open some doors in recruiting.
Yep, no doubt about it. Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. All right, Sam, we'll let you go. Appreciate it as always. Next week when we chat, we'll be on the doorstep of talking season. Can't wait.
Thank goodness. All right, take care.
That's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Always good stuff from him. I would encourage people to read his thoughts weekly in the Rewind, where he talked a little bit about that urgency. We've spoken about this before, but we've thought about what Matt Rule's tone might be, and last year it was, hey, we're going to try and earn the respect back and do this and that. That was really the through line, right? Wonder what it'll be. I mean, we got this week to kind of discuss this, but I wonder how hard he'll hit the idea of urgency and of their need to win now. He said, Sam mentioned it there, but one of the things that I really took away from that interview with Klatt on the golf course or wherever the hell they were at the hotel was the underlying idea that if they simply just go 6-6, if they simply make a bowl game, that is a disappointment. He didn't say that expressly. He didn't say that directly. But that's what I took away from the interview. That's what I took away from, if we if we go minus whatever in the turnover margin again, then I'm going to be fired. Like, I have high expectations, and Dylan's taken on, this interesting kind of role within the team and a leadership kind of role. Like, that's kind of what I got from that. If we just get one game better this year, that might be viewed as okay, but it's not okay. It's not good enough for us. And so they know that with the quarterback that they have, even though they won't say it out loud, they know with the quarterback they have, they're on the clock. You only get a few years with them. And so it's, that's why recruiting starts to take off when you have a guy like that, because, when you have him, people are going to want to play with him, and you'll have to win games in the meantime. That's kind of their responsibility and what they have to put together. So it's good stuff in the story, as always, from Sam. And we'll continue to have thoughts on many of those things as we go on throughout the week. A quick timeout, our last one of the show. We'll be back with the polls. Peter might have a nice list of what to watch, even though there's not much.
It'll be abbreviated.
Abbreviated what to watch. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
There's a new tomorrow on the other side of the horizon. There are promises to honor, work that needs to be done, friendships to enjoy, and people that count on each other. These are the things that tie our communities together. They always have, and they always will. Build your tomorrow with a bank you can rely on. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Athletico Physical Therapy, our favorite patients are the impatient ones. The ones who don't want to wait 3 months to see a specialist, or wait until that little pain becomes a big one. The ones who know that Athletico's therapists can help them take the recovery into their own hands. Our favorite patients are the ones who just can't and won't wait, because they don't have to. So get a little impatient and start with physical therapy at Athletico. With no prescription needed in most states to get started, you'll be right back at it in no time. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? Powerful enough to let your band members in Vegas, Phoenix, and Omaha jam like you're all in the same garage. Introducing Cox Fiber, from the company with the fastest download speeds 9 years in a row. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, always building better. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence in Las Vegas, Omaha, Phoenix. Fixed median download speeds Q2 2016 to Q1 2024.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Smith for Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. 2 locations in the old market right off of Jackson Street, and also in Benson right next to Taste of New Orleans. You know, one of the toughest things about the summer is trying to figure out what you're going to do with the kids, right? You got to fill some time. It's a great time to go visit either one of the Ted and Wally's locations. Your kids are going to love getting some ice cream. You're going to love getting out of the house. It is a win-win for both of you. So whether you're going downtown and checking out the old market and getting you some ice cream, or going to Benson and getting some Taste of New Orleans, stop by and tell them Severe sent you.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like climbing a mountain, but that mountain is also covered in banana peels. Then when something new gets added to your list, you're like, nope, I'm already climbing this huge, super slippery banana peel mountain of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to manage your policy on our mobile app. So climbing that banana peel mountain feels more like a leisurely stroll. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
When you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
So, by the way, speaking of what to watch tonight, the second round of the MLB draft is on right now.
They're doing rounds 3 through 10 today, but they have not made it clear where to watch.
Yeah, is it on television at all?
I couldn't find.
This would be a question for Josh Odson.
Yeah, yesterday it's ESPN and MLB Network simulcast, but I was struggling to find if it's actually going to be anywhere today.
So, let me. I'm not even sure where I would find that information. If it's not on MLB Network, one could surmise that it's not on television at all. I would imagine it's
follow
just
online.
Yeah, it's just on YouTube. Everything's just on YouTube.
It's on Roku channel.
Yeah, something weird like that. So yeah, it does not appear so, but people are getting drafted at the moment. Let's go to the polls, Peter, before we get out of here. At Happer Show, you voted on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Had 4 of them today. Number 1, would you mess with a calamari sandwich? Peter, yes or no?
I would. I'm a fan of calamari.
I would as well. 65% are saying no.
Which surprised me. But maybe it's just maybe
it's a little overwhelming.
Not for everybody.
I thought it would be less overwhelming.
I was expecting more 50-50.
Have clowns gotten a bad rap? Yes or no?
Nah.
No, you're good.
They're a little creepy.
Okay, 52%.
Sorry, David Arquette.
Say no. Did you know that 41-year-old Robinson Cano is currently batting .450 in the Mexican League?
Had zero idea.
I actually did, but I became aware of this just prior to today. 79% say no. And finally, this one came from Sam, although he didn't ask for it. Are you concerned about the fungi apocalypse that he mentioned? I don't even know what kind of reference that was.
The Last of Us.
Tell me about it. What happened?
It just an apocalypse show where the fungi mutated and got into the food supply.
They took over everybody's Xboxes?
It was
okay.
It was a video game.
Okay.
And then they made it into a TV show.
I am not concerned about the fungi apocalypse. I am like 78% of you at the moment. Those are the polls. Peter, I know it's a tough night on television, but do we have anything?
We do have a few things, even though we are indeed in the dead week. It's upon us. But as we discussed earlier, it's Derby Day, 7 o'clock ESPN. It's a pretty good field. It'll be exciting. Rooting on Junior.
Let's go, Bob.
Let's go, Bob. Do us proud.
I'm looking on TV Guide, so I don't know where Josh usually calls this information from. But he does a great job of it.
Yeah, he's significantly better at it than I am. But
it's okay. We got the Bachelorette.
Yeah, we've got a new Bachelorette tonight, 7 o'clock ABC, if you are so inclined.
We got apparently new American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah,
is this true?
There is it looks like another round of qualifiers, 7 o'clock NBC, and then 7 o'clock TLC. What feels like the 500th spinoff of 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh.
2 subtitles in this one title, Pillow Talk, The Other Way. How on earth is there more a 90 Day Fiancé?
So we are in season 6 of 90 Day Fiancé. So you're right. This is on TLC. 90 Day Fiancé, Pillow Talk, The Other Way. It gets so even more confusing somehow. So that is also Monday Night Raw.
Yep, and that's the last thing I was going to say. So there is some wrestling, USA 7 o'clock, Monday Night Raw.
But we know what you all will be doing, which is wasting $30 extra to play a video game 3 days early, and then not having time probably to play it the way that you wanted to. which is the way it's. I am excited for
and
the release.
What are we? Are we 15 minutes away?
We are an hour and 15 away.
Oh, so it is 3 local.
3 local,
Oh,
4
okay.
Eastern. I don't know why that's the time, but
okay.
3 Eastern is the time where you should be able to play it around here if you got in on the pre-order action. We'll leave you with a quote from SEC Media Days. This is from Chris Lowe, who crossed paths with Brian Kelly. Asked what he's most looking forward to this season in Tiger Stadium, joked, quote, scoring a bleep load of touchdowns. Unclear whether he said it in a Cajun accent. That's it for us today. Thank you,
Unclear.
Peter Mann, for hanging out and
talking too much.
If you want to know what he's talking about, go back to the crossover. It's kind of funny. I enjoyed it personally. All right. That's it for us today. If you missed anything, you can find it all at 1620thezone.com. Time for the crossover. It's next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.